Welcome to ESPN Saturday Night Football, presented by the new windows. And tonight's Big 12 matchup between the Baylor Bears and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. You are looking live at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Unbeaten and fourth-ranked Baylor visits Oklahoma State in the Big 12 Conference's Game of the Year. First place is on the line, and for Baylor, the stakes are even higher. The high-flying Bears are in contention for a spot in the BCS championship game. And already today, Alabama, Florida State, and Ohio State roll. Welcome, everybody, with Kirk Herbstreit. I'm Brett Musburger, and Herbie, you were telling me, listen, if Baylor wins, they could jump to third here tonight.
They really could. I think a lot of people are almost assuming that. They're .001 behind the Buckeyes this week in the latest BCS standings. Even Ohio State won. A lot of people are going to be watching this game. This is a big stage for Baylor to try to take advantage on the road in a tough environment against a very talented Oklahoma State team. I think they'll earn a lot of stripes if they win today.
Herbie, I got to tell you the truth. I can't remember if I've ever covered a team come November that is still averaging better than 61 points a game.
I mean, look at these numbers. We've never seen this other than playing video games. 61 points a game, 685 yards a game. Every time Bryce Petty completes a ball, it's for 19 yards. So what they try to do is they stretch you from sideline to sideline. They want to make the defense make a decision on are you going to defend the run or the pass. This is last week against Texas Tech. They have 6 offensive linemen. Here's 6 defenders close to the box area, 2 high safeties. So Bryce Petty, he sees that, and he's going to run the football and pick up big chunks of yards when they run. They average 300 yards a game on the ground. So a lot of teams respect the run. They have 6 linemen again. Now Texas Tech walks an extra guy down. Now you have 7 in the box, 1 safety high. Bryce Petty sees one-on-one to the left. He takes a full advantage of this, play action, downfield, and they get big chunks of yards, whether they run the ball or they throw the ball, and it's because they stretch you all over the field, horizontally and vertically. The other thing, they have a kind of a smart quarterback who makes good decisions. He's accurate with the football. He'll be challenged tonight because this defense that he's facing will be more physical. They'll bump their coverage and really try to get into the face of these wide receivers to try to disrupt the timing.
Now, let me point out a couple of things now. The road team, Baylor, is a big favorite in here, but Oklahoma State's tough at home. What do they have to do to upset the Bears?
You're right, and I think they come into this game with a lot of confidence because of the way they played these last 4 weeks. First of all, they have to win special teams. That's been an area of strength for them. Prevent the big play. We just talked about how quickly they can strike the Baylor Bears, so they've got to be able to hold up out on the perimeter, creating turnovers. Oklahoma State leads the nation with 19 interceptions on the year. And then the red zone defense. Mike Gundy came out this week and told us, guys, they're going to move the ball on us. It's Baylor's offense. We've got to stop them when they get into the red zone, see if we can force some field goals instead of giving up a lot of touchdowns.
Have you noticed what a beautiful night this is for football?
Oh, it's perfect.
The Bears are ready. Art Briles brings the team to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Temperature in the 30s, but they are ready. It's the Big 12 Conference's Game of the Year coming up next.
The Nissan pregame rush with John Saunders and Jesse Palmer is next after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Now the script's about to kick off. This party looks whack. Let's take it back to straight hip-hop and start it from scratch. I'm about to bloody this track up. Everybody get back. That's why my opinions are bad, cause my rhymes on the tag. Just like I did with Addiction, I'm about to like a magician. Critics, I turn the got them still on the fence, whether the but quick to get impaled when I tell them so sick from looking pale. Oh, that's my about to go ahead. Shout out to let's bring it back to that vintage slim beer. The order NC in mixed with the Vinci and NC Rin. And I don't mean Stimpy's friend beer. Been public enemy since you thought PE was Jim Bear.
Shoes off, let your head out.
All night long,
Pull your beard out, just weird out.
all night long. This house until we knock it down. So turn the volume loud. Cause it's spinning to the ears. So break the bass up like crazy. Let yourself go. Let yourself go. Life's too short to not go.
Stillwater, Oklahoma. Sellout crowd at Boone Pickens Stadium. The weather, temperature at 35 and going down. Winds out of the north-northeast at 16 miles an hour. And for the Baylor Bears, folks, they have not had great success in Stillwater. In fact, they have not won a game in 74 years here. That's right. Their last win in Stillwater, 1939. But this team comes in 9-0 for the first time in Baylor history. And they are just 3 wins away from controlling the Big 12 and heading to a BCS Bowl. Next week at TCU, then they close out with the Texas Longhorns, and that will wrap up the Big 12 season. Remember, there's no conference championship game in the Big 12. That was their last road win against a ranked opponent. And Oklahoma State comes in here ranked number 10 in the latest BCS rankings. And Oklahoma State, this is a tough venue in which to beat the Cowboys. And the Bears know it. The Bears are going to be shorthanded tonight. They're going to be without running back Lake Sistrunk, without running back Glasgow Martin. They're going to have to rely on Shock Linwood and Devin Chafin to get the job done. But they do have a host of wide receiver weapons, as you now see Oklahoma State coming out of their locker room and headed for the field. The Cowboys, if they upset Baylor tonight, they will be in first place in the Big 12 with a record of 7-1, and the Bears would slip to 6-1. So here come the Bears. And you will note that their benches there are very, very close to the stands. And that could become a story. Now for the home team, the Cowboys about to roll out of their tunnel. Sellout crowd here. This town has been fired up all week about Baylor coming to town with an unbeaten record. And the young man, who has taken over as the Cowboy quarterback and done an outstanding job in the last 4 games. On the other side, Art Briles, the master of the turnaround in Waco. 42-30. Came to Baylor from Houston. There with defensive coordinator Phil Bennett. Recently signed a 10-year extension. And the captains are at midfield for the coin toss.
There's the coin. That's heads. Heads. Tails. You're the visiting team. Would you like tails? Tails. Tails is the call. It's tails. Football. They want the ball. It's set up like you would.
So Baylor did not defer. Herbie, they want that ball right away.
They took the football, and Oklahoma State took the wind. You know, we do have a little bit of wind that's gusting up from time to time.
Let's go down now to Heather Cox with Mike Gundy. Heather.
Coach, tonight you face the nation's top offense. What do you see as the biggest challenge for your defense to slow them down?
Well, we have to stop the run, and we got to get pressure on the quarterback. And I feel like we got a great game plan. Our guys are really excited about playing tonight.
And, Coach, tonight your top wide receiver, Josh Stewart, returns from an ankle injury earlier than expected. How much do you anticipate you'll be able to use him?
I hope that we can use him for 20 or 30 plays. We'll see how it goes as the game progresses.
Coach, thanks so much. Best of luck. And, guys, it is gusty down here, 14 miles an hour right now, expected to increase throughout the night. That, combined with the cold temps, could have an impact on this game.
Yeah, no question, Heather. Stay warm down there. You can see the part of the crowd. They are bundled up and ready for this. So, Herbie, it won't take long now. We get a look at the Baylor Bears. It's interesting when you look back at the last few games, they've been a little sluggish at the start. Remember, they fell behind Texas Tech down in Arlington last week, 14-0, and again 20-7. So they had to dig themselves out of a hole, and they're determined tonight not to let that happen.
I think that's the thing that a lot of people have been most impressed with Baylor is not just that they score fast and they're playing great defense, but the poise in which they have had to play in recent weeks. They've been down and they've not gotten rattled at all. It's going to take that poise to be able to play well tonight in this atmosphere.
Coleman and Fuller are back deep, and this will be Coleman with great speed. And he is out to the 25-yard line. And so here comes the junior from Midlothian, Texas, committed first to Tennessee. Lane Kiffin didn't want him as a quarterback there. Transferred to Baylor, sat out last year, watched Nick Florence, who replaced RG3, and so we've got Bryce Petty, Herbie.
A big, strong quarterback, 6'4", about 230 pounds. Fourth year in this system, and I think that's an important thing to remember. He knows this offense like it's second nature. He's going to be asked to do a lot tonight at the line of scrimmage, running, passing. It's all dependent upon how Oklahoma State's defense is playing their stretched formations from sideline to sideline.
He can be a dangerous runner from time to time, and Baylor elects to empty the backfield here on the first play of the game. Throwing that little slant underneath to Jay Lee from Allen, Texas.
Again, if you've not seen a lot of Baylor, a big part of the reason, here they go with their tempo, a big part of the reason they stretch you out is to create those one-on-one opportunities out in space for their receivers.
And they run right straight ahead. And that was Goodley, one of the wide receivers, Antoine Goodley from Midland, Texas. So he runs the ball. Now look how wide he goes outside on this 1st and 10. Here comes tempo. Down the field he goes. And Corey Coleman was the intended target.
We're all going to have a head on a swivel. You know, what's interesting is Goodley is a receiver, but when you go so fast, instead of waiting for a running back to check in, Goodley's got versatility. They can just put him in the backfield and he can run the football.
So here comes Shock Linwood. He'll be the heavy-duty back here tonight. The youngster carries it right up the middle and breaks close to the first down marker in midfield. And Lowe makes the stop, one of the Oklahoma State safeties. Man, they are coming in a hurry. Fake to Linwood, fires for the first down. That's Levi Norwood, his father, one of the coaches on this staff. Levi, tremendous punt return against Texas Tech last week. I'm not so sure that wasn't one of the key plays of that game.
I agree. Petty makes a good decision coming off the ball fake and getting it out to Norwood there. That was his decision at the line.
Ball fake again, fires again quickly, and they only pick up a couple of yards as they attack the left flat that time. Patman with the stop for Oklahoma State.
Great job there by Patman, a transfer from Kansas. He was at Kansas for 4 years, graduated, he transferred. He was playing for the Jayhawks a year ago. They're going to have to make plays in the open field. That was a good play there against his tempo of Baylor.
2nd down and 8. Bryce Petty hands it off, and that's Shock Linwood. And Linwood, the redshirt freshman, is run out of bounds, and that is Patman again, Herbie.
Yeah, he sets the edge there on the outside. Against this outside run game, the corners have got to be willing to come up there. He does an outstanding job. One thing you'll see from Oklahoma State is aggressive corner play, not just in coverage, but also in run support. Great example of it right there.
Now they face a 3rd and 13 as a result of that loss. They're without their left tackle, Spencer Drango. Underwent back surgery. They're hopeful that he'll be back for their bowl game. Pat Colbert, the backup, over there on that side. Number 69, he holds his man. Fire to the slant, and Goodley puts it down. Fumble. Loose ball, they're going to rule it's incomplete. Oklahoma State, now hold on. Now they're signaling that it was a fumble. Goodley.
Brent, I thought it was an incompletion there. Let's see if he's able to hold. It looked like he was juggling it coming across the middle of the field. I don't know if he ever had possession. Here's a good look at it right here.
There's no count.
Yeah, there's no catch.
Yeah, that's incomplete. That one official that you saw, he was really incomplete.
Yeah, I don't think he ever had possession of the football. But let's go back to you and I were. It's the first game. We've been talking about it for a week. First series. Bang, 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 bang. What an amazing job by that Oklahoma State defense to come up with a stop there on their first look at this Baylor offense.
Spencer Roth, Josh Stewart, we'll get our first look at him for Oklahoma State. He's back to return the punt, standing on the 10-yard line. Roth, the punter, out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Fair catch is the signal, and the catch is made at about the 13-yard line, and Clint Shelf, the senior from nearby Enid, Oklahoma, will come out. And one of the things, Herbie, that you and I have talked about, he could be a very dangerous runner.
He sure can. He came into this year known as more of a passer, and the backup, J.W. Walsh, more the runner. But this offense has evolved the last 4 games, averaging about 47 points a game, and they've been running the football with Clint Shelf and Desmond Rowland, who you'll see tonight, a physical running back, number 26. But Shelf's leadership will be important tonight. He's also going to have to throw the ball against his Baylor defense.
Desmond Rowland is his running back. Alongside Shelf to the right. And one of the things I think you're going to notice from Oklahoma State, they're going to slow it down just a touch here. And there's that quick sort of lateral, and Rowland up to the 20-yard line. And Herbie, we got a moment here. How about the impact players?
Yeah, catch our breath here. Desmond Rowland, the running back who's emerged here for the Cowboys. Josh Stewart is playing tonight. There was some question about how long he'll be able to go with an ankle, but he is key because of his big playability. Eddie Lackey and Ahmad Dixon are big tonight with the injury to Bryce Hager. They have got to step up against his run game.
Second down and 5. And they go to Staley, the fullback, and he's fine player, blocker as well as a receiver and a running back.
Also, you're going to see Sam Hall, 25, right in the middle of this defense. As I mentioned, their leaders, Bryce Hager, he is not playing tonight. So Sam Hall, Eddie Lackey, Ahmad Dixon, you're going to see 6, 5, and 25 all around the football. They've got to do a good job of getting through the traffic and getting into the backfield.
Yeah, Dixon will probably move up, just as you pointed out, a converted player who was back at safety, and he's a very hard hitter. First down for Oklahoma State. They pick it up. Lackey makes the stop that time, and you saw Clint Shelf run for the first down.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, he'll surprise you with his quickness. He's not a guy that's going to take it necessarily 25 yards downfield, but he does just enough here to be able to pick up the first down. He just got outside of Eddie Lackey, who Phil Bennett, who coached at A&M, calls the Dat Win of this defense because of his instincts.
Rowland. And Desmond with a good first down run before the safety was able to bring him down, and that certainly makes it much easier on second down.
Watch Parker Graham here, number 71, pick up a good block here. You're going to check out the interior, coming right down there. Boy, just a strong block on Blackshear, and takes him out of the way to open up that hole.
Second down and 5. So Oklahoma State slowing things down here against the fast-paced Baylor Bears. First down's very important, and they've got another one. The 6'2", 210 junior, Desmond Rowland, picks up still another first down, and Dixon makes the stop.
Yeah, and Baylor does a lot of slanting and angling with their defensive line, and sometimes that works out for you. You can get some penetration, or other times you can get gashed for a big play. In the last couple plays, they're slanting. Oklahoma State's offensive line picking it up. Not only that, they're getting to the second level and getting to the linebackers.
Both fullbacks are on the field, Staley and Seaton for the Cowboys right now. Rowland behind Shelf, and they come back with Staley.
Staley is known more of a blocker, kind of a bruiser back there at 5'10", about 245 pounds, but we've already seen him a couple times get his hands on the football. Kind of a change up here compared to usually seeing 26 Rowland and Clint Shelf these last 4 weeks. So kind of breaking a few tendencies here in this first series, trying to get the ball to the fullback, Kyle Staley.
Second down and 5. This is the kind of drive that Oklahoma State wants. As the clock ticks down toward 9.5, they bang for still another first down with Rowland.
I think we all agreed, as you and I and our whole crew was we're looking at film and preparing for this game. If there's one area that Oklahoma State had to win, it's a long way to go. It was at the battle at the line of scrimmage with their offensive line and their backs against the front 7 of Baylor. Baylor's built more for quickness and to be able to defend spread attacks. This is more downhill running for Art Briles and his defense to have to defend.
Let me correct myself. He was just short of that first down marker, so it will be 3rd down and 1 coming up. Down to 9 minutes now on that clock. Clock possession for Oklahoma State, very important. Play action out into the flat. Did they get the great defensive play that time over there by Terrell Burt?
Well, he jumped the route. He saw it right away. As soon as he sees that bubble screen, he sees it in practice every day against his own offense. He didn't hesitate, and that was the reason he held him short, not hesitating and jumping the route.
Now, this is a big decision. They are short of midfield. They need a yard on 4th down, and Gundy doesn't hesitate. He's going for it. This is the first big gamble of the game. This would give Baylor half a field to work with if they don't make it. Here we go. And he didn't make it. The gamble doesn't pay off. The Bears were ready for the run, and Eddie Lackey, number 5, stood up tall, the senior from Marietta, California.
Well, they do a great job. Eddie Lackey is right here. All the linebackers are attacking on 4th down. The defensive line is slanting, but it's the downhill attack from the linebackers. Both of them right there to be able to make the play. Even without their leader, Hager, you see Lackey in there and also Sam Hall.
Now, Dixon is shaken up. This could be a big loss for Baylor. Ahmad Dixon is being tended to on the sideline as we take a break. We'll cover that story when we come back. You're watching ESPN Saturday Night Football, presented by the new windows on ABC. This telecast available in high definition, brought to you by Vizio. So Coach Gundy rolls the dice and craps out, and that gives Baylor an opportunity here, some 47 yards away from the end zone. Second possession. If you just joined us, Baylor punted after their first. Bryce Petty, their Heisman Trophy candidate, back at quarterback, keeps it himself. He's an outstanding runner, and he'll make it 2nd and 4 after that run low with the stop.
And you do have to respect that aspect of his game. Only 53 carries on the year, but when he does keep it, he's a very athletic guy, and he can lower his shoulder with his size.
Quick snap now, and the handoff to the running back for a first down. Shock Linwood, the redshirt freshman from Linden, Texas. Down we go to Heather Cox.
Brent, an update on Ahmad Dixon for Baylor. He tweaked his left ankle. Just talked to the head athletic trainer, who said he is good to return when they get the ball back.
Thank you very much. Jordan Nygaard is the H-back look on this. Petty with time, fires, and complete. And busted out of bounds is Goodley. What a big, strong-looking fella he is. 225 pounds.
Watch the linebackers sink under the route. I don't think he even saw him. Bryce Petty got away with one there. Caleb Levy was right there. Could have come up with that interception.
Now they quick throw it. Incomplete.
Tyler Johnson gets his hands up, and you can't pressure a quarterback. He gets rid of the ball so quickly. The only thing you can do is try to bat the ball down. Good awareness that time by the senior to knock it down.
3rd down and 2 now for the Bears. Petty's got the first down and more. 15, 10, 5, stumbling and down at the 1-yard line. First down and goal for the Baylor Bears.
Brent, Sean Lewis came down late. Oklahoma State overcommitted to the line of scrimmage. See him coming down late. He recognizes it, picks up a great block by Niver, and goes downfield.
Hand off, and Linwood cannot get there. He did not shock the Cowboys that time. And Levy, the first to get on him.
Red zone defense is an area that's been a great strength for Oklahoma State all year, and a great strength for this Baylor offense. Good against good.
2nd down and goal now. Now it is 3rd down and goal. Linwood couldn't make it on 2 attempts, and Oklahoma State saying they got the football, and yes, they do. There is a signal, and that was Castleman. Big James Castleman down there in the middle of that defensive line out of Amarillo, Texas, who took it away.
And Brent, let's see if Linwood stretches this ball out, trying to fight to get it to the end zone. And doing that, he just knocked it out of his hands. The big fella Castleman sees the ball come out. He's laying on top of bodies. 20s, and Castleman, like he's at practice, just knocks the ball out of his hands. Nobody else sees it, and he jumps on top of it. It's that extra effort there by Linwood. Great recognition by Castleman. The athletic defensive lineman bats it down and then recovers it. Just said how Oklahoma State's defense in the red zone, it's been great all year, and they step up again.
They certainly were there. It'll be Cowboys ball for the second time.
Saturday Night Football, presented by the new Windows. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Well, there's our gang. The Saturday Night Football bus drove from Los Angeles through Las Vegas, saw the Hoover Dam. There they are. Joey Buckets Accordadino and the associate producer Ben Aces Ward and Matt Pohl. Herbie.
Let's go back to this play before the touchdown. He's going into the end zone. Great blocks downfield. He's going to walk in, and he falls a little bit short. Oklahoma State's defense doesn't give up on the series. They come up with a big play. Linwood's trying to extend. Great effort. And the heads-up play by Castleman to knock it away. So Bryce Petty would love to have that one back where he pulls it out, does a great job, just unable to finish the play for the touchdown.
You saw our crew that visited Vegas. Did you?
That was great. That was cool. Great shot. Benny with the stash going, too.
Desmond Rowland is still the money back. Clint Shelf. And the Cowboys have used the fullbacks to surround this backfield here. And Staley's even carried the ball out of this formation a couple of times. Shelf's going to throw out of the end zone. Go deep down the middle. Caught at the 30-yard line. Charlie Moore pulls it in on the own end zone.
And what a call by Oklahoma State. The last series, 9 plays, 8 runs, and 1 pass. They get backed up into their own end zone. It looked like he got his left foot down. And the first play, backed up by their own end zone, a play downfield. Oh, they might take a peek at that. His toe looks like it may be on the line there, Brent.
Under further review.
His left foot came down after he secured the football, and his the front part of his left foot looked like it may have been on the line. Tremendous effort both by Chelf and Charlie Moore to extend, come up with the catch, perfectly placed football right there.
Can't really tell with the field judge.
Not on that one.
You can't tell on that replay. The field judge had that foot blocked.
There's that left foot, right?
Still
go with the
can't prove it,
right?
Okay, you can't prove it by either of the looks that I've seen. It's a tough job tonight for instant replay. They came over and chatted at me, the Big 12 group. Anytime they've got an up-tempo offense, and everybody, Oklahoma State, of course, is the team at issue here, not Baylor. But this is going to be, perhaps we get a look here. But the field judge is right there in front of the toe. Now is there daylight there? Is there daylight? Do you see a little green? I hear the Cowboy fans saying, yes, I do.
And that look, I see green.
I see. There's a little green there.
Look at.
You're not going to be able to tell from behind.
Watch him extend.
No, but there has to be absolutely conclusive evidence, and I don't think there was.
After further review, the ruling on the field.
All right. 29-yard gain. 29-yard gain to Charlie Moore, number 17. And it's first down and 10 for Chelf and the Cowboys.
Well, a great call, great execution. The ball could not have been thrown any better. And now they, instead of being back inside that 5-yard line, all of a sudden they'll probably get back to running that football downhill the way they were doing earlier in that first series.
Man, this is a backfield that Barry Switzer would love. Looks like a full house back there. Chelf again got a fire downfield, got a man open, got him again. 35, 20-yard line. And that is Marcel Aitman, the freshman from Dallas.
Well, we talked about Baylor running the football to set up their play action. Oklahoma State's running the football to set up their play action. One-on-one coverage. Aitman gets behind the safety, Burt. A great matchup that favors the Cowboys in Chelf. Great execution again by Chelf, and a great call by the offense.
Chelf has been lethal in the red zone. Touchdowns 90% of the time in the last 4 games, but now he's got an uphill battle. Eddie Lackey lit him up.
Eddie Lackey there shows you what he can do, but there's that one-on-one matchup. In fact, I thought it was Burt, but it was in fact the Goodson, the corner on the other side. Burt actually caught up to him and saved the play, but it was the coverage one-on-one was actually against Dimitri Goodson. And the young true freshman got away from him.
Josh Stewart checks back in from the Oklahoma State sideline. One of the trips receivers to the left. Second down and 14 after that loss. Baylor shows pressure. Shelf sees it.
Now you got to delay a game.
Delay. Off.
I think what you saw is what he saw. And by the time he recognized that they were not only pressuring, but man everywhere across the board, he wanted to check out of it and just didn't have the time.
So Hervey, when it was 1st and 10 down at the 20, now it's going to be a 2nd down and 19, backed up all the way to the 29-yard line.
Yeah, 2 big pass plays, and they were in business, and now a couple mental errors, and now they're going to have to really work here to be able to try to pick up this 1st down.
4.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Baylor has not scored, but neither is Oklahoma State. Shelf's going to fire for it. Complete to the 11-yard line. Josh Stewart makes his return.
Well, these linebackers are really respecting the underneath game, and it's opening up some plays downfield. We've seen this now 3 times on this drive alone, and that's the guy they've got to get the ball into his hands. Josh Stewart sneaks behind Eddie Lackey that time, and Sam Hall, and a good throw again. Right now, Clint Shelf is in rhythm throwing this football.
3rd and 1, and Kai Staley, the fullback from Guthrie, picks up the 1st down. Out of bounds at the 5-yard line. 1st down and goal.
Well, good job on the right side. Watch him get around here. Just kind of seal the edge. And again, you like to see this fullback, Kyle Staley, get his hands on the ball. And instead of him leading the way for Roland, Roland is leading the way for the big fullback.
Now 1st down and goal. This is Roland. Picks his way to the 2-yard line. 2nd down and goal.
What a great surprise Desmond Roland has been this year, the junior out of Dallas. Tough, physical back. I think when the Cowboys came into the year, they felt that Jeremy Smith, who's been a career backup, it was his turn to become the guy, but Roland has really emerged here in the last 4 or 5 games.
Staley, pay dirt. A 99-yard drive after a fumble at the 1-yard line by the Baylor Bears. They've fallen behind once again early.
And look at the hole open up. Boy, this offensive line for Oklahoma State, an Achilles heel early in the year with some injuries, and they're kind of reshuffled the deck. The last 5 games, they have really come together, and they are controlling the line of scrimmage against Baylor in these first couple series.
That is Staley's first rushing touchdown of this season. And the extra point tacked on by Ben Grogan. The underdog starting to howl in Stillwater.
I love it.
Tomorrow 10, Sunday NFL Countdown. Chris and the gang. Latest news, updates from around the NFL. And then before you set your lineups, catch Fantasy Football Now, 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Experts will provide the latest news, injury reports all tomorrow morning on ESPN. And here, Oklahoma State strikes first against unbeaten Baylor. Kip Smith to kick it away for the Cowboys. Coleman coming up the right hash, spins down. Let's check in with Robert Flores for an update, Robert.
All right, Brent, Taco Bell studio update. Pac-12 Arizona State seizing control at UCLA. Taylor Kelly to Jalen Strong. They're at the half, and the Sun Devils are rolling 35-13.
So they came into the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and they have taken care of business. And that would Pitt, Arizona State, I believe. Herbie against Stanford. Didn't Stanford wrap it up today with Oregon losing again?
Yeah, what an impressive win for Arizona State. UCLA was playing great football.
So shock. Speaking of shock, Linwood is back on the field here for the Bears. They just gave up a 99-yard touchdown, firing high and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Remember, Baylor has been here before. They have trailed in games in 5-3 at Oklahoma, won decisively last week to Texas Tech, down big, 14-0 early. You could see 63-14. Also should mention they were down at one point in the third quarter to Kansas State. Point is, they've been down. They've been able to maintain their poise. This feels like a different deal tonight. We'll see how they're able to step up tonight against the Cowboys here in Stillwater.
And again, Cowboys are very tough in this arena. Attacking with Linwood out on the flat, back to the original line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up a big 3rd down here for the Bears.
Great job of getting off the blocks and leveraging the football. We're going to continue to talk about it. Against Baylor, you've got to be able to make plays in space. That means getting off of blocks, and that means tackling out in space. A great job there again by the Cowboys defense.
Petty checks that sideline for the adjustment. The play call is in.
He's got man coverage, and he's got 2 high safeties he's going to have to deal with here.
And a timeout called by the Bears. They have to burn one. 2:11 left in the opening quarter. 7-0. Oklahoma State leads it. We'll be right back. Oklahoma State leads Baylor as we continue the Dr. Pepper road to the championships. Big 3rd down for Petty. Penalty flag on the play. The umpire stops it. False start. A tougher situation.
False start. Offense. Number 68. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Cyril Richardson, their big left guard from Fort Worth, Texas.
And remember, they're right in front of the loudest student section, maybe in the Big 12. They're making a lot of noise, and it's always different on the road when it comes to pass protection on 3rd down and long. And that time, the big left guard, Richardson, jumped it a little bit early.
3rd down at 15. Only 7 3-and-outs this season. Make it 8. Emmanuel Ogba comes in and makes the play.
Ogba is the guy they bring down in obvious passing situations. On the left, gets right around the left tackle. Remember, they've got a backup left tackle, Pat Colbert, who's in for Drango, and that time he lost to quickness. But Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State, deserves a lot of credit. An aggressive plan with the way they're playing in the secondary against an offense that's averaging 61 points a game.
So again, Josh Stewart back deep. They should get good field position. He's going to let this one bounce. Takes a Baylor roll. And a good one. Inside the 30-yard line. Well, a reminder, the Baylor Bears, they've got a pretty good basketball team. The Maui Classic gets underway as Feast Week presented by Lowe's begins. And Chaminade takes on Baylor. And I know that Ralph Sampson is wincing because he knows every time I see Chaminade playing somebody, I always remember that great Virginia basketball team being upset over there in the Maui Classic.
It's so funny. As soon as you say Chaminade, I think everybody knows that.
Okay.
That's the only thing I think of.
What's their nickname? The Silver Swords?
I'm sure.
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've accomplished a lot of great things in their lifetime as a school, but that's what I think of.
Here's Rowland now as the running back. Oklahoma State gets it back, 3-and-out. Only the 8th time that the Baylor Bears have gone 3-and-out this year. Trying to get it back here. Rowland was tackled by Palmer, Herbie.
And Oklahoma State, the first series, they had 9 plays, and they ran the ball 8 times and threw it only once. The last series, boy, they had some big plays in the pass game. Clint Shelf and this offense showing that they can do both run and throw, depending on how they want to try to attack this Baylor defense.
Second down and 10 for Shelf. Got a 51-yarder to set up their only touchdown. Is he throwing the ball beautiful or what? That was Tracy Moore. He hits, and there's a penalty flag on the play. Tracy's a senior from Tulsa.
The result of the play is the first. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 5. It'll be a 15-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
So that would be Josh Stewart after the play. Dead ball foul, and that brings it back to the 35. Herbie, take a look at this.
Yeah, Moore does a good job, but Brent, you and I both are recognizing that Clint Shelf is in a rhythm right now. He got back, took a hitch, put the ball right over one defender and between 2 others. A perfectly thrown ball, but Josh Stewart kind of negates that with the middle air, with the penalty, the dead ball penalty.
Shelf is perfect so far. 5 of 5 for 118 yards, 51 yards on that one play. Now he's 6 of 6. Comes right back with Josh Stewart.
Right now, Phil Bennett's trying to come up with answers on how to try to stop this offense that is in a rhythm. And I think he's recognizing what we're seeing. There's a mismatch up front early here in this game, and it's Oklahoma State's offensive line winning that battle up front. He's starting to bring pressure, starting to bring the safeties and linebackers to try to help himself out.
Now that's the end of our first quarter here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Cowboys lead it, and we'll be back after this message and a word from your local ABC stations. Welcome back to Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by the new windows. So we welcome you back. Second quarter here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The undefeated Baylor Bears scoreless in the first quarter for the first time since September 21st of last year against Louisiana Monroe. They went on to win it 47-42.
And Art Briles told us, the thing that he has been most pleasantly surprised with is the poise that his quarterback Bryce Petty and his entire team has played with when they have faced adversity. So it's another chance for them to come through for their coach facing this adversity tonight.
Second down and 1 for the Cowboys as we open the second quarter, and Rowland bangs for that first down. That 210-pound junior from Dallas went to Lake Highland High School. Lackey and Hall with stops.
There is, for two teams that people think about, they want to spread you out and try to throw the football around some. We know Oklahoma State can run, but there's a lot of contact going on tonight, especially when the Cowboys have the football between that line, the backs, and these linebackers.
Shelf looking for a receiver in a foot race, bobbles it, picks it up, and down he goes at the 31-yard line. And he was being pursued. Morton was one of those who got on him here pretty good.
And watch Lackey finish this up. Shelf's lucky he got that football back, but he secures it. Ball goes down. It bounces right back up to him. And look at, I'll tell you, Eddie Lackey is all over the place. Very, very aggressive, and they ask him to do a lot. And with Hager down tonight, one of their leaders in the middle, he's got to take on that much more of a responsibility in the middle of this defense.
And corner K.J. Morton was in pretty good pursuit that time, too. Play action fake, fire middle Shelf. He is still perfect throwing the ball. Tracy Moore makes still another catch. Shelf is 7 of 7 to start this game and this win.
And Brett, you're seeing right now these linebackers, they're really starting to bite on the backs coming out of the backfield. Look how Lackey, who we just talked about, he's eyeing Rowland, and it opens up right behind him. You can see Shelf's already in the middle, is throwing the football, and Lackey's kind of hesitating, waiting and anticipating that he might be checking it down to Rowland. Great job by Shelf reading the eyes and feeling kind of the body language of where these linebackers are. Right now they're up front close to the backs.
177 yards of offense And nothing doing that time. They certainly did not add to the total. Andrew Billings and Eddie Lackey, the active linebacker, in there defensively. And again, it's 178-72. Advantage Oklahoma State and Coach Gundy on offense.
Boy, Andrew Billings is a true freshman, and he uses some great quickness that time as a true freshman, jumping around a veteran offensive lineman and making that play.
Here he goes again. Gundy rolling the dice for the second time tonight. He was stuffed in the first quarter on 4th and 1.
Legal substitution here by Oklahoma State. They're going to get caught with 12 men on the field here.
And that will cause him to change his mind.
Offense. 4th down.
Yeah, 4th and 6 is a lot different than 4th and 1 when you're a riverboat gambler. And I would be shocked if... But I've been shocked before, but here comes the punting team onto the field.
And I think the
pretty
reason,
easy decision. Kip Smith's going to punt.
He's willing to go for it as he knows that even though his defense is playing well against his Baylor offense, he knows at any moment, based on what we've seen now for most of this season, Baylor can score in a hurry.
And they can here with Levi Norwood. Signaling for the fair catch. Going to let it bounce. Going to be a short punt. A little bit of a roll, though, for the Cowboys. And all the way down close to that 12-yard line. The 4th possession for the Bears is coming up. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And, folks, do not adjust your set. These are accurate numbers.
It's incredible, and I think you and I both saw the one near the bottom, time of possession. What a huge advantage, and exactly the way Mike Gundy would have loved to have drawn it up, but it's a first quarter. We have 3 quarters still to go, and as we know, at any moment, Bryce Petty can strike.
They'll stay conservative with Linwood on 1st down. Let's check in down below with Heather Cox.
Well, Kirk talked about Bryce Petty's poise and demeanor, but he's also putting a ton of pressure on himself tonight, saying, I have to be perfect. That's what I strive for this week with my game plan and my preparation. I'm going to prepare like I've never prepared before. Herbie, do you think he might be putting too much pressure on himself?
You know, Heather, whether it's the NBA, which you cover, or baseball, or basketball, or football, anybody individually who says, boy, I have to be perfect, or I have to perform at a certain level, well, that is unnecessary pressure that you don't want to put on yourself. And hopefully he'll settle into this game and be able to go out and just execute.
It was 3 and out the last time, and they're in danger of back-to-back 3 and outs. And they do, but there is a penalty flag, so hang on. They may have gotten bailed out here by the penalty.
Substitution infraction defense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So after that infraction, it'll still leave them with a 3rd down. Check the bottom of your screen.
Running on late, there's some confusion. It looks like Hautau, who ran onto the field late, is a 12th guy. Official caught it. And as you said, Baylor catches a break on that incompletion. They get another shot here.
And Baylor with wholesale changes on this 3rd down and 2. A little bit of confusion in the middle now, and Bryce Petty trying to get it sorted out.
Timeout. Baylor.
And now Art Briles wants an explanation, and they burn their 2nd time out here. So we'll take a break. When we come back, it looks like a 3rd and 2 for the Bears.
Saturday Night Football presented by the new windows. Brought to you by Cadillac. Moto X, designed by you, assembled in the USA. And UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
Well, the original Pistol Pete, fashioned after Frank Eaton, the U.S. Marshal. And that brings me to the Aflac trivia question. Herbie, what 3 FBS schools have Pistol Pete as their mascot for athletics? This is the most famous one, but there are 2 others.
There's 2 others. Okay.
There are indeed. So here we go now. 3rd down. The offensive line and Petty getting set. The Bears have punted. They fumble at the 1-yard line, and they went 3 and out. This is their 4th series of the night.
Empty formation. Petty likes quarterback draw from this from time to time.
He's a good runner. Brings a jet sweep. Look, and no, shaking and bacon's Goodley. And he's finally thrown out of bounds.
Boy, this is an aggressive defense that's really well prepared. Joe Mitchell, an outside linebacker right there, recognizes that when Antoine Goodley comes in motion, there's a pretty good chance he's going to get his hands on the football. He does. You can see he positioned his body, anticipating the speed and quickness, slowed him down enough, and eventually Peterson pushes him out of bounds.
Josh Stewart back deep. The Baylor offense has bogged down. Scooped up. And the ball was dead. It was killed. You're watching ESPN Saturday Night Football, presented by the new windows on ABC. Okay, Pistol Pete, Aflac, what do you got for us? 3 schools, Herbie.
Oklahoma State and
that's wrong. Got that first one.
How about the Cowboys, really?
How about New Mexico State?
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. Now, keeping the ball on this 1st down is the wideout, Josh Stewart. And to go back on that punt to make things clear, once he waves his arms, even though they're not above his head, he kills it. Once he feels the ball, there is no way he can return it right there. And once he feels it, dead ball.
So great call downstairs.
Yeah, it was the officials. Absolutely.
The crowd reacted. They thought maybe he could take off, and even Stewart thought he could take off.
But Stewart took off pretty well on that last play. Now here's Chelf, a little quarterback draw, and could not get back to the line of scrimmage. So it's going to be 2nd down and long coming up for the Cowboys, who lead this game. Herbie, I think the biggest surprise, to me anyway, is the way this Oklahoma State defense has really shut down the Baylor offense.
Yeah, it's almost like we have to talk about Oklahoma State's defense, why they have the ball, because we just don't have time when they're on defense. Glenn Spencer's done a good job of being aggressive, taking away the run, and then getting Petty into some obvious passing situations.
And now the Oklahoma State offense will, as you pointed out, Herbie, try to control that clock again, get some 1st downs. The quarterback is a perfect 8 of 8 throwing the ball, and relying here on Roland, who makes it a very manageable 3rd down coming up.
Well, the versatility of this offense has been incredible to watch this year and watch them grow. Watch 9 lead his way in there. You're talking about a powerful offensive line, 245-pound fullback leading the way, and a physical tailback in Desmond Roland, who finds that crease, lowers his shoulders, squares up, and picks up yards.
So they use an extra offensive lineman. They show power on this 3rd down and 3. Travis Cross, backup center, checked in. Roland will try to get behind that line. He's thrown for a loss. The play developed slowly, and that allowed Blackshear to throw him for a loss. And it is 4th down coming up again for the Cowboys.
Watch Terrence Lloyd up at the top. He's actually the reason that this play is stopped. The defensive end sets the edge, and that allows the rest of the defense, led by Blackshear, to make that play. But the senior, who they call Pops up front, makes the play.
So here comes Norwood again to see what he can do. Remember, he had a fair catch this last punt. He's a very, very dangerous punt return man, standing back on the Bears' 10-yard line. And in this wind, you just don't want to take any chances. Rolls back on into the end zone. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. So Oklahoma State, after scoring, they've been forced to punt on their last 2 possessions. Robert Griffin Griffin III. He got the show on the road here, won the Heisman Trophy 2011. He really ignited Art Briles' offense, and they've kept it going with Nick Florence. And now Bryce Petty, who has been struggling tonight, drops back, goes deep, far side, incomplete. Ticked off the hands of Goodley, and it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, you got to hold up in one-on-one coverage. The sophomore Kevin Peterson isolated, bump coverage, and there's just a step there by Goodley, but the ball overthrown a bit, and that's more of what you've seen from Baylor most of this year, taking shots downfield, but it's been tougher with the timing against this defense.
2nd down and 10, firing 1st down, and that ends consecutive 3 and outs on that 1st down pitch to Corey Kaufman. He's a redshirt freshman from Pierce High School in Richardson, Texas.
They brought 2 linebackers there on the blitz. They didn't make it, opened up a throwing lane.
Here's that play action, now back, incomplete. Wanted Coleman again.
Baylor right now, typically they run to be able to set up the throw, but I think they're seeing that this is an aggressive Oklahoma State defense, and it may be one of those nights where they're going to have to start to hit some pass plays here and some one-on-one coverage to try to open up some of these running lanes. They've got to soften up the linebackers and the secondary to open up some of the running lanes and get a little bit more room to work with in the box.
2nd down and 10, play action again. Keeping it in the air, hitting Robbie Rhodes, a freshman from Fort Worth, Texas, out of Southwest High School. Patman with the stop.
Look at the tight coverage here. They're going to walk up tight. They're going to recognize the routes. Great job. Usually there's a pick there or a rub that's there, but there is such quickness by Tyler Patman. He is all over the route. There's not much yards after the catch.
3rd down and 6.
That man coverage across the board.
Defense has been adjusting late. Needs 6 for the 1st down. And we'll see what the spot is. That was Goodley and hit by Kevin Peterson, number 1. And they mark it as a 1st down for Baylor.
And that is their go-to man on 3rd down. Antoine Goodley, probably their most talented receiver with Tevin Reese down, comes underneath so often on 3rd down, running away from coverage. The ball is high, but great job of securing it. There's that tight coverage. They are making Baylor earn every single yard tonight.
Yeah, let's point out again, because Herbie mentioned an injury. Baylor is shorthanded. Tevin Reese, with that dislocated wrist, probably will not be back this season. They are without Lake Sistrunk and Glasgow Martin. They're 2 of them running backs, and their left tackle, Spencer Drango. Now, when you think of that, your left tackle, your 2 veteran running backs, and your number 2 receiver, and there's Sistrunk on that far side over there, wearing the hood with a groin injury. He missed last week, missing tonight. This is a short-handed football team. They have not used it as an excuse. Petty fires, got a 1st down on that far side, and that was a good throw to Levi Norwood.
And that's what it's forced this team to have to do. And I think the difference in Baylor now with Art Briles is he's got depth to be able to deal with those injuries. Norwood's been one of those guys to step up.
And they come back with the running back, and this is Shock Linwood, the redshirt freshman from Linden, Texas. Linden Kildare High School. Castleman making the stop. Castleman saved a touchdown when he batted the ball away when Baylor was going in back in the 1st quarter. Comes at about the 41-yard line, below the defender.
They are attacking. This defense is very well prepared from Glenn Spencer and this defensive staff based on what they've watched on film. They're seeing it and they're reacting quickly. They're not hesitating. They're playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of kind of an aggressive nature.
Now that's Devin Chafin, number 28. He's a big back. He's 225 pounds, folks.
They don't have a safety in the middle of the field. Man across the board.
3rd down and 5. Far side, deflected, incomplete. And and low with terrific coverage on Clay Fuller.
Free safety isolated one-on-one against Fuller. This is a 4-year starting safety known as a thumper, a guy that wants to make big hits. This is what Baylor does. They try to attack with their inside receivers against safeties in man coverage. What a great effort by Lowe to have the position and the awareness to get that right arm up and knock the ball away from the receiver, Fuller.
So the third consecutive series in which the Baylor Bears are punting to end it. After that fumble at the 1-yard line, they've been unable to threaten Oklahoma State at all. This ball will come out on the 20-yard line. And a reminder tomorrow now, don't miss the BCS show coming up on ESPN. I can just hear the Buckeye fans yelling, "Go Cowboys!" Because if Baylor is upset here tonight, it'll be the Buckeyes in striking position, and then they'll become the biggest fans that the Auburn Tigers have had in years next week when they host Alabama in a showdown for the SEC West.
And if Baylor were to lose this game at that point, really the only team left on the outside of the top two would be Ohio State. So you're right. People back in Columbus and the entire state of Ohio watching this game with as much interest as people in Waco and right here in the state of Oklahoma.
Jeremy Smith checks in to the backfield. Jeremy's a senior running back from Tulsa. Shelf, who has been magnificent tonight, throws for still another first down, and Javon Seals takes it all the way to the 42-yard line. Shelf has not missed a receiver here tonight. He's 9 of 9.
He's just in a rhythm, and they're doing a good job of protecting him. Great patience that time. The receivers go downfield. He just checks it down. And how about the speed after the catch?
So from the 43-yard line, good run on first down that time by Smith, who we told you checked in to start this series.
Boy, Jeremy Smith, we talked about him being a little bit more of a backup guy. They thought he'd be the starter. He's become the backup to Rowland, and he's great in that role that time. You thought it might be a 4 or 5 yard gain, but that leg drive pushing it picks up 8.
Second down and 2, and Shelf is trying to adjust his receivers on the left-hand side. He's got 7 up on the line. Now he brings the slot man in motion. And Smith trying to swing wide over to that side, and that play was blown up. Thrown for a loss back to the 40-yard, and that play did not look good from the get-go.
No, Oklahoma State's having a hard time getting to the outside. They've had success in the last 4 weeks, but Baylor deserves a lot of credit. Again, it's the big guy, Terrence Lloyd, is setting that edge for this defense, and you can see it's tough to get wide against the speed of this Bears defense. Good job again, Terrence Lloyd and the rest of the Bears defense flying to the football.
Third down and 5. Shelf, perfect, middle, still perfect. First down to Brandon Shepard.
I mean, when you're in a zone, Brent, look at this throw. Well, I mean, watch this. Watch how he throws this over a defender and drops it underneath to Shepard.
For 25 yards.
Look at this throw. Unbelievable rhythm. And this is a young man who the last 4 weeks has been running the ball, and now he's going back to what he did a year ago, and that's throwing it.
First down from the 13. Shelf back again. Firing. Touchdown. Shelf to Charlie Moore. Shelf is now 11 of 11 for 232 yards and a touchdown. And the favored Bears are in trouble again in Stillwater, where they haven't won a football game since 1939. Ben Grogan on for the extra point. Oklahoma State leads 14-0. But that's good news for Baylor. That's what they trailed Texas Tech by a week ago.
Here's Charlie Moore all the way over here. He's going to work his way across this defense. Here's Tracy Moore, man-to-man. He's going to clear it, and there's a big opening on the other side. Watch how hard he works. The linebackers blitz. There's a big vacancy right in the middle. Does a good job of throwing the ball where he can use his body to shield off Terrell Burt. Watch where the ball's thrown. The safety comes up, but he can't get to the football because Charlie Moore uses his body to shield Burt away from it, and it's also a great job by the quarterback of Clint Shelf. Won't want to jinx him, but 11 of 11 for 232 yards. This is an offense that in the last 4 weeks, they have been running the football. Only 187 yards a game through the air for the entire game, and he's already got 232 yards here in this first half.
Now here's the most interesting thing about Shelf. He's converting red zone possessions into touchdowns more than 90% of the time in the last 4 weeks. 2 of 2 here tonight. Touchdowns in the red zone. Short kickoff fielded at the 12 by Clay Fuller. Fuller for the Bears. And he's down at the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Robert Flores for an update. Robert?
All right, Brent, Dr. Pepper 10 conference update from the SEC on ESPN. Missouri, who needs to win out in their last 2 games to get to the SEC title game. They are leading at Ole Miss 17-3 at the half. That's Marcus Murphy, the short TD run.
All right, and of course, next week, Herbie, Mizzou goes home to Columbia, Missouri, where they would close out against Texas A&M. What a story in the SEC, because if Missouri holds on tonight, beats Texas A&M next week, they would play the winner of the Alabama-Auburn game for the SEC championship in Atlanta. You talk about one of the big stories in college football.
No doubt.
Do not overlook the Missouri Tigers.
Look at that drive chart for Baylor. I don't think anybody imagined they would see that in the first half.
Now Shocklin moves the running back, and that was Lowe making another stop. Boy, that safety has really been active. And Daytwan is out of Midwest City, Oklahoma. Went to Carl Albert High School.
If there's one thing you would say about this first half, you would talk about how Oklahoma State has won the battle at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football.
Petty couldn't find an open receiver, trying to dance out of trouble. Now throws on the run and throws it away. And it'll be 3rd down and 10. And you can see the Oklahoma State Cowboys, they want intentional grounding on this play.
Well, Oklahoma State got pressure. They rushed 4. A lot of times they've been rushing 3 and getting to Petty. Bryce, again, just to remind people, Bryce Petty and Baylor, you see they have 685 yards. What sometimes you fail to realize is they're averaging 300 yards a game on the ground. They run the football to set up the pass. So far in this first half, only 52 yards on the ground. That's why they're struggling to throw.
And here's a 3rd and 10. This is 3 3-and-outs. This is an earth-shattering development as far as the Baylor offense is concerned. That was Jimmy Bean from Denton, Texas, making this play for the Cowboys.
There's Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator. That time he brought pressure. He showed it, and then he brought it over here to the right side of the offense. They were anticipating pressure from the left. At the last second, they brought the pressure from the right. They fooled the pass protection, and they covered the receivers off to the left. Petty had nowhere to go with the football.
Roth punting out of his own end zone. Stewart back deep. Oklahoma State going to wind far, almost blocked. Stewart lets this one bounce, gets out of the way. Ball rolled down to the 31-yard line.
This defense that we've seen tonight, it's been remarkable to watch. At times they have rushed 3 and dropped 8, and there's nowhere for Petty to go with the football. This is a 3rd down and long, and they got pressure. They actually got to him by rushing 3. They've also mixed up their looks. They've gotten tight with the coverage. Baylor hasn't seen a lot of this year. They bumped them, jammed them, made them work to get to their spots, and they've held up in one-on-one coverage. And right now, Bryce Petty, very confused with what's happening with the looks that he's seeing. We've seen them adjust all year, and we'll see if they can do it again in the second half in this game.
I thought that one of the Baylor players really had made contact with the ball, and that is indeed the case. This football is being brought back to the 39-yard line, okay? So it is a 1st down and 10 here for Chelf, who is 11 of 11 And not much doing on that play. That's going to make it second down and long. And of course, coming up, stay tuned for the Capital One halftime report, scores and highlights from a busy day of college football. The big story would be Oregon in control of the Pac-12 North, losing at the hands of Arizona, and it wasn't close. Second down and 14 here, where we have another big story developing. The unbeaten Baylor Bears trail Oklahoma State 14-0 right now. Smith is still the running back. 2 minutes to go. Oklahoma State would love a couple of timeouts here, not to give Baylor the ball back. They'll bring the end around sweep. The big receiver, and he is met by a host of Bears. Dixon was the first to get in on that play. Dixon, a very good tackler. Now, Baylor was held scoreless in the first half in 2011 right here, and they lost that game 59-24. They've had a very tough time here. We've repeated over and over. It's been 74 years since they've won a football game in Stillwater. Shelf is now 12 of 12 here in the first half. Third down and 8. Trying to bring the clock down as much as they can. Throwing again, and there's his first miss of the night. That's a story, and it's 4th and 8, and the Bears will get the ball back.
And I think part of that possession was as much about trying to just work clock and be content with what they've done in this first half. If they would have been able to pick up a first down, maybe their mindset changes.
Illegal formation. 5 people in the backfield. Penalties declined. 4th down.
But they were really just content with working the clock, and now all of a sudden they're going to see if they can hold Bryce Petty one more time here and try to go into halftime up by 14.
Norwood is back deep. Kip Smith is the punter for the Cowboys. Fair catch at the 16-yard line with 1:16 remaining. The Bears with one timeout, and of course the coach's trophy presented by Dr. Pepper will be awarded to the winner of the Vizio BCS National Championship on January 6th in Pasadena. Alabama and Florida State sitting 1-2 right now. The Buckeyes still unbeaten. Baylor's unbeaten, but in trouble here tonight against Oklahoma State.
But you could see Bryce Petty go into that huddle knowing that this offense is capable when they're really executing. They can score in 1:16, and he kind of went in there trying to get guys excited, trying to get them fired up. We've talked about the leadership he's provided for this team this year. He needs to be able to deliver for his team, and his offensive line needs to be able to help him out here.
Remember, this is a team that came in averaging 61 points a game and 684 yards. Petty has thrown for only 59 yards, trying to get more on first down. Goes deep, got a man wide open. 40, 35, 30-yard line to Clay Fuller, and Clay Fuller, what a big story is. Minor league baseball player for 6 years gets open.
Yeah, and a defender, Gary, actually slipped, but I think he slipped because he was fooled and bit on the underneath route.
Quick handoff. They come right back with the running back, and they barge into that red zone, and that was a big first down play. The run with Linwood inside of a minute now, moving fast. That's why it was so important for Oklahoma State to kill the clock on that last possession, and they couldn't. Baylor Bears have got plenty of time.
Timeout Oklahoma State, trying to regroup.
Oklahoma State burns their first one now, tries to slow things down, but here they come.
And we talked about how quickly 1:16 backed up. You haven't done things well. You might think for most offenses they're just going to go in at halftime and try to regroup. Not with Art Briles. They have enough confidence in their system and in their quarterback to be able to put points up on the board.
Well, you know, there have been some big upsets in this conference the last few years. This was 2011. Iowa State prevented Oklahoma State from playing for the national championship. Then a year ago, Kansas State was #1. And Baylor picked them up. Lake Sistrun's 80-yard TD run was a key play for the Bears, and that 52-24 shocker. And now here, trailing by 2 touchdowns, plenty of time left. Petty for the first half, Herbie, is 10 of 18 for 112 yards, and this one of the best-looking drives they've had.
And he picked up a large chunk of that 112 on that last pass that he threw downfield to Clay Fuller. And they're thinking about trying to get a touchdown here. Remember, they took the ball when they won the toss, so Oklahoma State will get the ball to start the second half. Baylor's thinking about they need a touchdown here to end the half.
Now, it was a 53-yard pass play. Put Petty up over 100 for the half. And so here we go now. First down. Petty toward the end zone, incomplete. And it'll be second down and 10 with 40 seconds. Norwood the target.
Boy, they find the matchups. That was Lindell Johnson in coverage. He doesn't even see the football until it's past him. Look how that's inches away from being a touchdown. But it's picking on a safety. They go after the inside receivers, matched up one-on-one against safeties, and that's the matchup that they like. And that time it was perfect. It was just the ball was thrown just beyond the fingertips there of the receiver Norwood.
Second down and 10. Play fake. Petty with time. Can't find a receiver. Has to throw it away. Third down coming up now.
Lynn Spencer turning that defense loose, getting physical with these wide receivers. Brent, we've looked at a lot of film this week. You've not seen defenses. Look at this. Look how physical they are. Look how they're making them work. You turn on the film, these wide receivers have been running by most of defensive backs that they've faced this year. Not the case tonight.
Petty back in the gun on third down and 10. Must reach the 10-yard line for a first down. Throws in underneath. Did not get the first down. Fourth down and 2 coming up on that strike over the middle to Goodley.
Art Briles right with the official, looking at the clock, trying to make his mind up, and he will use that last timeout.
Sets up an interesting situation here for Coach Briles. You're out of timeouts. You need 2 downs to even cause the clock to hesitate. You might as well throw it in the end zone if you're going to throw.
Higher education is the key to solving issues for the future. 10 universities are making a difference with bold leading programs and innovative solutions through research, science, engineering, and technology. Go to Big12makingadifference.com to see the power of collaboration. Big 12, higher education making a difference.
Nobody knows when a mission will take hold of you. It just shows up one day in your gut, your heart. Suddenly, you feel propelled by a deeper sense of purpose to discover something or break something or help someone. You don't have to go to space or cross vast oceans to be on a mission, but you...
Brent, did you hear Bear on that? This kid's 11 of his last 21, dating back to last year.
We welcome you back. A 29-yard field goal here for Aaron Jones. Art Briles has elected to try to put points on the board. Not be shut out completely here in the first half. It's from the right hash. And I believe the play
Mike Gundy called the timeout.
Timeout. Oklahoma State. It's their second.
I think Oklahoma State might have expected them to be running a fake. Jones has struggled a little bit. There was something that Oklahoma State saw. And Art Briles is a little bit upset about this. $16 seconds showing on the clock with a fourth down and 2.
Saw one of his assistants came over there and said something to Art Briles, and Art Briles kind of looked over and then made a call, and there was a reaction there from this unit. So let's see what he has in store.
And of course, they have only 174 yards in the first half here. Brody Trahan, a linebacker, is the holder.
It's going to call another timeout.
Yeah.
Remember, this was 2 or 3 years ago? the NFL and college football coaches would just stand next to the official, just wait right before the snap.
So, Coach Gundy using his timeouts as we take a look at this week's Discover Card BCS standings. And, of course, Oregon beaten 42-16. And Baylor trailing by a couple of touchdowns, and Alabama, Florida State, and Ohio State rolling right along.
Yeah, I think Urban Meyer's very happy with the way Luke Fickell's defense has been playing in recent weeks, and I think they're probably playing their best football that they've played all year at the right time as they get into the month of November.
Well, it cannot be stopped this time. Out of timeouts. Zach Northern is the long snapper. From the right hash, looks good, got it. Baylor on the board in the first half here in Stillwater. But for the most part, this a very, very low-scoring first half.
If you look at this first half and you think about an offense that's been averaging 61 points a game, this is a touchdown early in the game. He just stumbles. And then 2 or 3 plays later, Linwood reaches, and Castleman knocks the ball out of his hands for a goal line stand. And a couple pass plays later, they go 99 yards for a touchdown. And Clint Shelf's been in a rhythm. Here's a great throw here in the latter part of the first half to Charlie Moore for a touchdown. Shelf in the first half, 12 of 13 for 238 yards. And an offense, it's really been more of a running offense the last 4 weeks. Tonight they've come out and they've really established the ability to throw the football.
And Shelf at 12 of 13, as you pointed out, Herbie, he's hit everybody.
And they've done a good job of mixing up the play calling. They still are running the ball, but when they pass, only 13 times, when they have passed, they've hit some big ones.
So Brandon Shepard will go back deep here for the Cowboys. They'll run out the time in the first half and take that lead on into the locker room. It'll be kicked along the ground. And the short man will go down at the 35-yard line.
Baylor won the toss on the road in this environment, and they wanted the football. So Oklahoma State obviously will start the second half with the ball.
So finally a field goal drive for the Baylor Bears. And undoubtedly, unless we have a horrendous mistake, that'll be their last possession of the first half. The first scoring drive for Oklahoma State was a 99-yard scoring drive after Herbie showed you that fumble. And then, of course, there was that touchdown pass by Shelf. Shelf's going to wind up 12 of 13, it looks like, for 238 yards, as they're going to give the end of the half formation here and take this 14-3 lead on into the locker room. They do just that. Big ovation from the Oklahoma State fans. Briles and the Bears will attempt to regroup. They were held to 174 yards and 1 field goal in that first half. Let's go down to Heather Cox with Coach Gundy.
Coach, your quarterback, Clint Shelf, has been nearly perfect. What have you done game plan-wise to put him in such a position to succeed?
Well, I think we have a good plan, and he's mixing it up, and he's playing very well. I think he's comfortable with our offense.
Meanwhile, you guys are going up against a team that averages 61 points per game. What's the key to holding them to just 3 points?
Well, we got to keep mixing it up. I think they have a great plan, and we're playing with a lot of energy, and we got to stay after them. They got a good football team.
Mike, we'll let you get to it. Thank you.
All right, Heather, thank you very much.
Brings up a good point. They have to keep after it because Baylor, at any moment, they can ignite that offense.
Into the first half here on a cold night in Stillwater. Stay tuned after these messages with a Capital One halftime report. Welcome back to Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by the new Windows.
Kick shoes off, let your head out. All night long. Pull your beard out, just weird out. All night long. Rock this house until we knock it down. So turn the volume loud, 'cause it's into the ears. We'll break the pace up like crazy. Let yourself go, let yourself go. Life's too short to not go for broke. Everybody, everybody.
We are back in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Oklahoma State upsetting fourth-ranked Baylor 14-3. And Herbie, you can't say enough about the defensive performance of the Cowboys so far.
It's been an amazing thing to watch Glenn Spencer's group and how aggressive they've been able to just get after Bryce Petty. They've given him a multiple looks, a lot of different ways of trying to get after him. Here's a third down. They just rush 3. They drop 8. There's nobody open downfield, and they still get home and get the pressure on Petty. Here's a great example late. They show pressure to the left initially, then they drop left, bring the pressure from the right, nobody open again, but they're mixing up their looks, and most importantly, they've been aggressive with their attitude and their mindset on that side of the ball. They're not playing as if they're afraid of Petty in this offense. It's averaging 61 points a game. They are setting the tone.
And you have very strong feelings about Oklahoma State in the second half.
And I think that attitude will have to maintain itself if they're going to pull off this upset. They've had an aggressive attitude on offense and defense. Now with the lead, if they play not to lose, they'll end up losing the game. They've got to stay aggressive.
Here comes Seals from the 1-yard line on the second half kickoff. Out to the 23-yard line, and over here is Clint Chelf.
And the other story has been Clint Chelf. He has been in rhythm. This is a throw that was remarkable, the way he dropped that in underneath the safety. This is early when he got a ball thrown down to Charlie Moore. He's just been one of in this first half, he's had time to throw. He's put the ball exactly where he needs to put it. His line's done what they need to do to give him help, but he's been back there 1 or 2 hitches in rhythm, putting the ball right on the money time after time. He's 12 of 13 in this first half. And let's see how Mike Gundy and this offense elect to come out and attack the Bears defense to try to set the tone here early.
Desmond Rowland, number 26, will be his running back. He's alongside. They bring the end around, and Shepard with a fine 13-yard gain on first down. Dixon making the snap. Let's check in down below with Heather Cox.
Well, Art Briles talked quite a bit about first down efficiency. He said we can't get into third and long situations. He also talked a lot about Bryce Petty and the pressure that he saw from that Oklahoma State defense. Coach Briles said he didn't handle it well until the last drive of the first half. And last, guys, they've got to do a better job running in this half to open up the passing game.
Well, here is Chelf, and they've been unable to stop him. Scrambles for a yard or so here on their first possession of the second half. Our Pacific Life game summary. When you compare these two quarterbacks, you would ask yourself, so exactly who is that was the Heisman Trophy candidate here? I mean, Chelf went 12 of 13 for 238 yards and that nice touchdown you showed, Herbie.
And look at the yards, the longer throws for Chelf. He's had a lot of success. Again, he's only thrown the ball 13 times, but he's hit some big plays downfield.
And here comes Staley. He's had a fine game, scored one of the 2 Oklahoma State touchdowns in this game, but here comes a third down for the Baylor defense, and let's see what they can come up with here against Chelf and this Oklahoma State offense now operating without a huddle.
Kyle Staley pretty nimble for a big fullback there.
Chelf surveys the field, stacked 3 receivers over to the left. Offensive line lobs to one-on-one, and again, free touchdown, Tracy Moore, number 87 from Tulsa, Oklahoma, on their first possession of the second half.
Dimitri Goodson again isolated and beaten in one-on-one coverage. It happened twice in the first half. It happens here again. He's a physical defensive back, a physical corner, but Tracy Moore a little bit bigger. He gets off and away from him at the line of scrimmage, and there's that rhythm by Clint Chelf again, finding his receiver, man coverage, and they beat it the way you need to when it's one-on-one.
Chelf has thrown for almost 300 yards in this game. Grogan on for the extra point. 21-3. All Cowboys. They take the opening kickoff and march 76 yards for their third touchdown of the evening. This telecast available in high definition, brought to you by Vizio. Oklahoma State has been in high definition all night long, leading at 21-3 over the favored Baylor Bears, who came in averaging 61 points a game. But listen to this stat: 25 or plus yards passing plays Clint Shelf and Oklahoma State, five pass plays, 25 yards or longer here tonight. Coleman back deep for the Bears, 20, 25, 30. Coleman with speed out to the 40-yard line. Well, get close to all the action now wherever you are with the new SportsCenter app. Blazing fast scores, hottest news, highlights, and analysis. Access to your favorite SportsCenter talent 24/7 via Twitter. You can download the new SportsCenter app. Call *SC from your phone.
Then we talked about how Oklahoma State needs to remain aggressive with their approach on both sides of the football. They certainly did that to start this first half on the offensive side. Now let's see how Glenn Spencer continues to play with this Oklahoma State Cowboy defense.
Shock Linwood in as a running back. And Petty with a first down pitch on the opening play to Antoine Goodley from Midland, Texas.
Now they got the safety Johnson out of him right there, 27, right in the middle. He stepped up to respect the play action fake, and Bryce Petty got into rhythm, came off of it, and got the ball to the outside to Goodley.
They can score quickly. Petty going for it on this pitch. Incomplete. Corey Coleman, and there's a penalty flag down. Corey Coleman, the intended receiver. Lowe was covering him. Datejuan Lowe with coverage.
I think Lowe felt that he got there right at the same time as the football.
Pass interference. Defense number 8. 15-yard penalty. First down.
The official thought otherwise.
Yeah, they always talk about when a defensive back gets beaten, then he's playing catch-up, and his head never turns around to find the football. Boy, he touches him there at the end, but that had everything to do with not locating the football, and the officials look for that. When your head doesn't turn, they're going to call it, but I didn't see a whole lot of contact there to the very end of the play.
First down and 10. Keeping it himself to the 25-yard line. Sort of an awkward-looking play.
Yeah, I don't think Petty ever had a real good handle on the football. I think that's why it was awkward, Brent. I mean, he had it, but he kind of bobbled it to the running back.
Now on second down and 9. Complete to Goodley again, run out of bounds, and this will be third and short for Baylor. Gilbert with coverage.
Young man's name we've not called a whole lot tonight. Justin Gilbert, the senior who elected to come back for his senior year. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper feel that he is the top-rated corner in the country.
Great defensive play again. Caleb Levy. The young man has made one play after another, and that forces Baylor into another fourth down. And this time, they leave the offense on the field. They're going to go for it here on fourth down and 4.
Huge play here, down 21-3 here in this early part of the second half.
Need 4 for the first down. Option play, not going to get it. Out of bounds. And there is that man over there. Simmons hit him first that time. The other linebacker.
Boy, Ryan Simmons doesn't get much recognition with the other linebackers, but watch how he gets to the outside. He recognizes option. He gets off of the block by Palmer and is able to get out there to slow down Linwood. That's recognition of the speed option. Getting outside there, getting out of the way of the block of Palmer and Niver, and knocking the running back out of bounds. That is great defense again to start this second half by the Cowboys.
Pistol Pete wouldn't have it any other way. So here come the Cowboys, their second possession of the second half. They had a touchdown pass on the first possession after they received the second half kickoff. Flea flicker, rolling back to Chelf. Incomplete. Did not fool the Baylor Bears. Goodson stayed right with the receiver.
And you're right, Brent. Not only Goodson, watch the back end of the defense. They didn't follow more. They did follow more underneath, but they also followed the receiver going down the field to prevent the big play. And that time, Goodson, who's been beaten a couple times, jumped the route and got in the way there to knock that football away.
So Stewart checks in from the Oklahoma State sideline on second down and 10. coming in motion. Shelf firing down the middle, double coverage. Diving incomplete that time was Tracy Moore going for the ball. Stewart was there along with Burt.
Shelf tried to hold on to the football until the very last second. Boy, pretty good effort there by Tracy Moore, but Clint Shelf waited the very last second until Sam Hall hit him right in the nose as he threw the football.
3rd and 10. Shelf down the far sideline, complete for a first down. Charlie Moore.
That is bad coverage by Goodson. I'm surprised Phil Bennett left him alone on 3rd down and long. Goodson has struggled. He's not locating the football. The ball is underthrown intentionally by Shelf, and a good adjustment by Charlie Moore. Goodson got lost in coverage.
First down, and they flare it. They're going to throw it back now to the other side, and Shelf. First down, 40, 35, 30, 25, breaks free. 10, 5 and out of bounds. Beautiful throwback by Josh Stewart, the wide receiver who missed last week's game with a foot injury, and Shelf did the rest.
A great job of, that's not an easy thing to do for a wide receiver. To stop, it's like a shortstop backhanding a ball, stopping quickly and throwing it on the money to Shelf. And I'll tell you, Shelf has pretty good quickness when he gets out in the open field.
Absolutely. 48-yard gain. Rolling back in as the running back. He was right behind Shelf. Staley, the blocking back, gets it again. Steps out to the left. Stumbles to the 1-yard line. 2nd down and goal coming up.
I thought the big fella might get to the corner, but Goodson, the defensive back, boy, last-ditch effort, throws his left arm and just enough to slow down a big 240-pound fullback.
2nd down and goal. Shelf, the trigger man. Touchdown. There is his 2nd touchdown of the night. Kai Staley from Guthrie High School in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So if they win this game, Oklahoma State jumps to 1st place in the Big 12.
Just an important thing to remind folks is that it's not just about Baylor and the BCS standings. Oklahoma State is thinking about trying to win a conference and get to a BCS bowl game.
Their only loss was a conference loss in West Virginia. Grogan tacks on the extra point, but the big move they made when Clint Shelf became the quarterback. He's had 2 possessions this half, and the Cowboys have 2 touchdowns. You're watching ESPN Saturday Night Football, presented by the new windows on ABC.
Saturday Night Football, presented by the new windows. Brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And Buick. Visit your local Buick dealer to see why thousands of people are switching to Buick each month.
There you see photos of the OSU library and the student union here in the Stillwater. Very happy group of cheerleaders at Boone Pickens Stadium. And of course, this crowd's been enjoying every minute of this 28-3 lead here in the 3rd quarter. A home team underdog in a stadium where they normally dominate. From the 6-yard line is Norwood. 25, 30. Out to the 35-yard line. And, of course, reminder that at 10 a.m., Chris and the gang, they'll get your Sunday started. Man, what a game. Cam Newton played last Monday night. They'll have the latest on him. And before you set your lineups, fantasy football now, Sunday at 11 a.m., and that's on ESPN2. Well, here, Herbie, we've got a 1st and 10 coming up for a team that I would describe as the shell-shocked Baylor Bears right now.
No doubt about it. I mean, 61 points a game. You're used to scoring at will. Their average scoring drive's a minute 29 coming into this game for the year.
They've had only one field goal drive, that at the end of the first half. Now they've got the ball to midfield with Antoine Goodley, who has been the go-to target here tonight. As far as Petty is concerned, he has 6 receptions for 63 yards. He's off on the right side of this formation. Petty with a play action goes deep down that side, overthrew Goodley. Second down and 10. Now, take a look at the comparison that Herbie just mentioned. I mean, it is a remarkable performance by the Oklahoma State defense.
8.5 yards a play. Tonight, only 5. Also, 685 yards. You have 215. But again, they're not running the football, and they've been able to run the ball all year.
Trying to move the ball on the ground with Linwood, and there is a loose ball. Oklahoma State says they've got it.
But I thought...
No confirmation. There it is. The umpire says indeed that Sean Lewis had it there at the bottom, and it's a turnover now.
Oh, boy. I think Caleb Levy, Brent, got his hand in at the last moment, 45, and ripped the ball out. This is a veteran football player, a 4-year player. Watch 45 in the middle of your screen. He gets in late, right hand right there, rips at the football, and then his partner, Sean Lewis, these two guys had played together for 4 years. Levy rips it out, and his buddy, Sean Lewis, is there to jump on top of it.
That is the second fumble of the night. Second turnover. Both came on fumbles, one at the 1-yard line, and Petty is there with Coach Briles on the sideline trying to figure things out. They've had the ball twice in the second half. They turned it over in downs, failing on a 4th down. Now they turn it over on a fumble.
The previous play is under further review.
So instant replay will take a look at that fumble.
Yeah, and at all the angles that we saw up to this point, you just can't see if his knee touches before Levy gets the ball out of there. There's a lot of bodies in there. There's the football. Yeah, there's the football. We can back that up before his knee. Yeah, the football's out. And Lewis jumped right on top of it. Ball's on the ground there, then the knee touches. That's probably as good a look as you're going to get. We've talked so much about these players. I just cannot say enough about Glenn Spencer, the first-year defensive coordinator. Bill Young's been here for a number of years as a defensive coordinator. Glenn Spencer was kind of a co-defensive coordinator helping him out. He's taken over this year to be the guy, and he's had a heck of a plan tonight.
After further review, the play is confirmed.
So you talked about him, Herbie, and that is the 9th fumble that his defense has gained all season. And now couple up with the 19 interceptions that they've had. That is 28 turnovers gained by Coach Spencer's defense. An amazing performance.
Now they came in this year plus 13 on turnover margin. They're now plus 15 for the year. 5th in the country in that area.
Here comes Shelf, and he's sacked back at the 35-yard line. McAllister gets credited with the sack for the Baylor Bears. Baylor down by 25 points, trailing 28-3. Only a field goal to show for a team that came in averaging over 61 points a game. They've had 8 victories, Baylor has, by 28-plus points. Shelf is back again, snapping off, still another completion. What else is new, huh?
Brent, I think the other thing that has to be surprising for people that have watched Baylor play, I think the crowd reacted because of the use of the headgear here by the Baylor defender coming in late, leading with his head. But the Baylor defense has been sensational all year. 190 yards a game through the air, 14th in the country. Tonight they're struggling on this side of the football as well.
3rd and 15 for the Cowboys, who scored on their first 2 possessions of the second half. Shelf is back, firing, incomplete, and they are forced to punt it away.
That time he and Seals, the freshman receiver, just not quite in sync. One of the rare times Jelf and his receivers not in sync. And I know Mike Gundy, who told Heather Cox walking off the field, we have got to continue to be aggressive. They've done that. But they want to continue to do that because of this offense. And eventually Baylor, you never know when they might put it together.
Well, the special teams have also performed here tonight. There's Norwood signaling for the fair catch. So it's going to be down right around the 30-yard line. That's where Baylor will have it. But the favored Bears trail it 28-3. 28-3, Oklahoma State, our score, as we continue the Dr. Pepper road to the championships. And, of course, we pointed out the All-State bus. They made the trip here all the way from Los Angeles. And a reminder, the All-State Ultimate Road Trip Sweepstakes rolls on. Go to allstatecfb.com for a chance at a trip to the All-State Sugar Bowl, and then out to the Vizio BCS National Championship game. Well, the Baylor Bears had dreams of making to that championship game. Now they've just got to find a way to get back in this game, losing 28-3. Bryce Petty fires on first down, and that was Norwood, the target, short of the first down. It'll bring up a second down.
Sean Lewis making the play there. He's the one who recovered the fumble and sitting down with him. What an impressive guy as a four-year starter.
Throwing for the first down and going right back to Norwood. And the defender was Kevin Peterson. He was on the corner of Wagoneer, Oklahoma.
But for Oklahoma State, they want to maintain that aggressive attitude on defense at the same time. They don't want to give up any cheapies. They don't want to give up a big play to this Baylor offense.
Here's Petty stepping back, keeping it in the air, going deep, and he overthrew his receiver. So it will be second down. Clay Fuller was the intended target. What an interesting story Fuller is. I told you he played 6 years in the California Angels organization, or the Los Angeles Angels, I should say. He's 26 years old, folks. That's it. And his last at bat as a minor league player, he hit a home run. So there is Clay Fuller. Been recruited by Coach Biles of Houston. Said he wanted to come back, and Biles said, love to have you. And here's Petty picking up 9 yards, and that'll bring up third at a very manageable 1 yard here.
And the great thing about Fuller coming back to football, he's got speed, but obviously he knows how to track a football. Great ball skills.
Running for the first down with Goodley. That's the second time he's been used as a running back by the Bears tonight. So still, you know, Herbie, there's still plenty of time left. I know that a lot of the Baylor fans are probably shaking their heads in dismay, but those who've watched this team know they can score in bunches. They can score quickly.
Yeah, they score again. A minute 29 is their average time when they do put a drive together and put a touchdown on the board.
And there's a story with that defensive line of Oklahoma State. Barnett's back on the field, and the sack is made, and that was Ogba, I believe, over there. So Ogba did it. Emmanuel comes up with a sack.
Yeah, he's going to come off the right side here. Just gets around the corner with speed around Palmer, who's in at right tackle. And Ogba, that's the second time he beat the left tackle Colbert. This time he goes right around Palmer with just quickness off the edge.
Linwood checks in on this second down and 16. Low snap, picked up by Petty. Incomplete. Jay Lee, the target.
Bryce Petty, low snap. I mean, it's just bizarre to watch this offense be so out of sync. And it's a testament to Oklahoma State mixing up their looks, being aggressive. The snap's low. It affects Petty wanting to get the ball out. There's pressure. His feet aren't aligned with his shoulders in his throw. It's just something we've not seen from Baylor all year.
Third down and 16 for the Bears. Petty checks that sideline. Three-man rush. Well short of the first down is Corey Coleman.
Keep in mind when you see guys like Sean Lewis and Caleb Levy and Dayton Lowe. These guys make plays. You have 10 seniors on this defense to help out Glenn Spencer. A lot of guys that have played a lot of football that rotate in and out. It's a veteran group with a lot of savvy, and because they've played a lot of football, they know what to expect from these kind of offenses from Baylor.
4th down and 9. Petty through high again. Oklahoma State football. Lindell Johnson with coverage did a good job.
He has been active on the underneath coverage. I think this time he confuses Petty. He's right here. He's just going to sink back inside, try to get into the throwing lane and read the eyes of Bryce Petty. That's all he did. It was a combination route. Fuller went to the outside, and instead of going with Fuller, he's in zone. He just sinks back, reads the eyes of the quarterback, does a good job of getting into that throwing lane to avoid Goodley coming up with a throw.
So Baylor has had the ball 3 times here in the second half, and twice they've turned it over after failing on 4th down, and the other time they turned it over with a fumble. It is all Oklahoma State, and the aces tonight go to that defensive performance. Jeremy Smith running wide and out of bounds, and Bryce Petty may have been shaken up on that last play. Take a look at this as he backs in. And may have been rolled into back there. That, of course, was one of his offensive linemen, Pat Colbert, who's filling in for Spencer Drango, the left tackle who underwent back surgery. 2nd down and 8 for the Cowboys, and they're content now to try and run the football with Jeremy Smith.
How nice is it to have Jeremy Smith, a senior, to come in and spot Desmond Roland? You know, he likes to run downhill. This is a guy that ran for 646 yards as a sophomore, 371 as a junior, 34 career touchdowns. He comes in. He's got fresh legs to run right into this defense.
3rd down and 2 for the Cowboys. There he comes again, but not this time. Cowboys forced to punt. Palmer makes the play defensively for the Bears, and the Bears are going to get the ball back right away.
They have had a tough time all night getting outside against the speed. They've set the edge, and that time Jamal Palmer caught up from behind, but it's because that right side of that Baylor defense is doing a great job of setting the edge and not allowing the Cowboys to get wide at all.
Kip Smith will punt it away. Levi Norwood, who's the return man, standing back on the 10-yard line. Just looking for anything good to happen here. Without a touchdown tonight, only a field goal on their last drive of the first half. Almost down inside the 5, and let's see where he marks the touchback. There is the signal, and it'll come out on the 20-yard line.
Pretty good effort here by Oklahoma State, but clearly you can see the football there breaking the plane.
And of course his foot went down in the end zone.
We'll see if Bryce Petty, remember he was rolled up on, you talked about that left tackle, Pat Colbert, who was trying to hold Jimmy Bean out. He comes back out.
There is Bryce trotting back onto the field. He's got Chafin as his running back this time, number 28. Haven't been able to do a thing here to sustain a drive at all against this defense. Chafin picks up about 3 yards, and Peterson making still another stop. You know, Harvey, that Peterson's come up. He's made a lot of stops here tonight.
These corners are physical. I mean, they're very physical in their coverage and the way they're jamming the receivers, but also they've come up quite a bit in run support.
Petty, far sideline, a little bit, starting to throw a little bit too high. Robbie Rhodes, the freshman from Fort Worth, just couldn't quite get up that ladder high enough, and we've seen Petty, and you wonder a little bit about that hit he took the last time out. There's 3rd down and 8 now for the young man from Midlothian High School.
Brent, a lot of times on 3rd down, they like to try to move him underneath. They've done that quite a bit with Antoine Goodley, number 5.
Got him stacked far outside to the right. Couldn't get a man open. Petty gonna scramble. Now he takes dead aim, across the field, and put it in the arms of Clay Fuller. Got a first down with his minor league baseball player.
That's a great job of keeping the play alive by Bryce Petty. I mean, it looked like he wanted to go right. He had to come off of it. Good job of getting outside right there of Tyler Johnson. Tries to buy some time. Does a no-no, throwing back across the middle lane. And they might want to check this just to confirm if Clay Fuller held on to that football. And he went down. He slid down for the ball. And we'll have to take a close look here to see if he was able to sustain the catch. Got both hands underneath. He's a baseball player.
Absolutely.
Baseball player.
Absolutely.
Makes that catch.
That play. Look at it from this angle as he cradles the ball. And Herbie pointed out that the hands underneath the football. Certainly nothing there to indicate that that play would be turned over. So when you think about Oklahoma State, they came in with a 6-game winning streak, and they certainly have regrouped since that loss to West Virginia. And the coaches called that game a turning point. And Coach Gundy said that at West Virginia they lack structure. And of course then he changed quarterbacks. He brought Chelf back in, and the offense turned around. But tonight it's been the defense that has dominated this game. And were you noticing last week in the video after the win against Texas, did you see Coach Gundy's dance moves?
Can you imagine tonight?
I mean, Dancing with the Stars may come calling for this guy.
Wait till tonight if they hold on here. I don't even know what he might have in store tonight. But you're right that
The early on the field stands.
The loss in Morgantown really had last week.
Come on, show it to me now. Go get it now, Coach. Come on down there, baby. Yeah, he'll do another one tonight.
He will, yeah, if they win. But you're right, that the loss in Morgantown turned their season around. They said they're reshuffling the offensive line, but I think they've created a new identity in the last 4 weeks of being able to run the football more.
You think Boone Pickens will dance?
He might go down and join if they win this.
Petty backing it out on first down, incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Sideline throw to Jay Lee. Peterson again, the defender.
You know, you talk about T. Boone Pickens, and honestly, Brent, this program has always been a competitive program back in the old days in the Big 8 and in the Big 12. But with the facilities that have been upgraded here, they pride themselves on being a team that's going to stick around, not just for a year or two, but for the duration. And I think that Mike Gundy is proving that over the last 3 or 4 years.
Petty throws on the slant for the first down to Fuller that time, and Fuller's certainly coming on here in the second half. But, you know, Baylor might be a program that sticks around, too, because folks down in Waco know, and Herbie, there's a beautiful, beautiful new stadium going to be completed in time for next time. I'm going to tell you right now, it is a gym. You got to get game day to get down there next year for sure. Petty, incomplete.
I've seen some of the pictures of it right there on the water. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah, we could go on and on about the job that Art Riles has done in turning this program around and making them a legitimate contender in this Big 12. But the effort that Oklahoma State's been able to play with tonight, if you ask them and their fans, they're not shocked by what they're watching right now. And again, you see, they're ranked number 10. They're trying to win a Big 12 championship and get to a BCS bowl game themselves.
2nd down and 10. Petty trying to find an open receiver. Deep down that far side end zone. Touchdown, Goodley. Antoine Goodley. And there's a penalty flag thrown at the goal line. It would be a 40-yard scoring strike if it holds up.
The offensive player went out of bounds on his own. Was first to touch the ball.
Maybe touch him.
Yep.
Ball goes back to the previous spot. 3rd down.
Well, Antoine Goodley had to work to try to get open downfield. He recognizes a quarterback, and there he steps out. He's out of bounds. Gilbert never touched him. He saw Petty start to scramble his way, so he turned to go downfield, and he stepped out of bounds on his own.
You saw the hat come down first. The hat is already off the official. Do you see? He'd already seen the foot out of bounds, so he flipped the hat down the sideline, and then as Goodley goes into the end zone.
They're all over.
Yep. 3rd down and 10 coming up now.
Look how tight the coverage is across the board here. Something that teams have not been able to have success doing all year.
Short of the first down, incomplete too, by the way. And Corey Coleman, I thought for a moment that he was going to hang on to that. Shaken up on the play is one of the defenders. That would be Lowe.
That's a ball that obviously he has to be able to hold on to, give them a chance. Then 4th and 2 probably if he holds on to that ball, and instead it's 4th and 10. The tackles have really struggled here in pass protection when they rush 3.
Petty going to try to run for it. Not going to get it. Oklahoma State football. And that was Johnson, the junior from Plano, Texas, denying him the first down.
Boy, Lendale Johnson has been busy. He's a backup safety, but they've been playing a lot of 5 and 6 defensive backs. Johnson just sizing him up, gets around the potential block. In fact, Jay Lee didn't even see him. But this is big against big. Who's going to win the battle? And the safety turns down the quarterback.
So, Herbie, Baylor has had the football 4 times this half. And they've given it back to Oklahoma State 3 of those times on downs, and they've turned it over in the 4th. I mean, they have really been dominated here.
And Brett, looked like Bryce Petty was confused on the down. That was 4th down. He gets hit, and he starts to kind of like, let's go, let's go, let's go. I think he thought it was 3rd down.
Meanwhile, here comes Smith. And just as you pointed out, what a luxury to have that young man come in here with the defense starting to wear down, and he gives the Cowboys a first down at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, he is a physical back to go along with Desmond Rowland. It's a nice, just a nice combination in this backfield. Chelf as well. But you look at what Jeremy Smith can do as a senior. He understands the setting and what he needs to do coming into the game late.
29-yard run.
You go back to that 4th down for Baylor.
Oklahoma State.
Bryce Petty on 4th down. He's trying to get the first down. He comes up a little bit short. Big hit there by Johnson. He gets help from the offensive line, and he's thinking, let's see if we can go. Let's go for this. Let's go for this.
And let us check in with Robert Flores. Robert?
Yeah, let's go for this. A nominee for AT&T All-America Player of the Week, Ohio State quarterback Braxton Miller. Ran for 2 touchdowns, threw for 2 more as they demolished Indiana. You can text or you can visit ESPNAllamerica.com. You could probably text too if you wanted. I just don't know the phone number.
All right, Robert. You know what's interesting? And I've listened to a lot of Ohio State fans upset the last couple of weeks because everybody's been talking. Everybody's been saying Baylor's going to jump past you. Baylor's going to be number 3. Well, hang on. The BCS tends to take care of itself. And now Ohio State will become huge Auburn fans in that showdown. The Iron Bowl at Auburn, incomplete as Chelf goes for it. You know, Herbie, even big plays on the part of this offense, running and throwing. The Cowboys have had 9 plays, 20 or more yards here tonight. And Chelf is 15 of 20. He's thrown for 325 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and last year, you and I did a game with Clint Chelf. He came in for Westlawn in Manhattan against Kansas State. From that point on, he took over, and he was a passer. He was a great passer a year ago, and he's come into this offense this year. He's run the ball, but tonight, he's kind of gone back to who he was a year ago, showing how he can throw the football.
2nd down and 10 for the Cowboys. Final minute and a half here, the 3rd quarter in Stillwater, banging with Jeremy Smith. You can just see what he has done here tonight. It's amazing.
I mean, this is against Baylor last year, and then what he's done this year. I mean, this is an offense that they threw the ball 51 times a year ago. Now they are known over the years with Mike Gundy as a team that'll spread you out and throw it. And they've not had to do that necessarily the last 4 weeks, and tonight they have.
Tracy Moore, first down, Cowboys.
You know, one last thing about Shelf. He's 8-2 as a starter. He has 2 losses, 1 to Baylor and 1 to Oklahoma. He gets a chance to get back at both of those teams tonight. And then, of course, he still has Oklahoma for Bedlam.
Herbie, help me out. Isn't his brother on the Twitter All-Star team? Is this the same quarterback?
I don't know, but I've heard that rumor. I think he got fairly aggressive early in the year with a few of those.
Down at 10. Here comes the reverse and a throw off it. And he's out of bounds. The receiver was out of bounds. That was Charlie Moore to Tracy Moore, right?
They overturned it. Line judge came in.
Well, let's take another look at this, because I thought with the naked eye, and I could be dead wrong. Now, he could have caught this in the field of play. Take a look at this. Well, he's inbounds.
Right foot.
His right foot before the left foot went out. No question. Good call down there by Tracy.
And the line judge coming down the sideline actually made the call, and the correct call.
Yeah, absolutely. He was definitely inbounds. Touchdown, Clint Shelf. Enid, Oklahoma. 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. And, of course, last week he burned Texas twice, rushing for touchdown.
Clint Shelf following the block of 44, but it was really just the execution of the play and the timing of the play call there. Well, this Oklahoma State team is well prepared for this football game tonight in every phase. The offense, the defense, the special teams. This is not a fluke. This is complete domination by the Cowboys.
So a big upset brewing in Stillwater. And there's the trigger man. All right, Buckeye fans, tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, your turn to cheer. You'll be a solid number 3, looking at a 2. If you can win the Big Ten championship, and if Auburn can take on Alabama. You know, Herbie, you know what I can't believe? This is the first time since the SEC split into divisions that Alabama and Auburn will play for the championship of the West.
Right.
The winner goes on to play, well, perhaps, who knows,
could
Missouri or South Carolina.
But you're right about Ohio State. If this holds on, and obviously it looks like it will, they're not going to have to worry about style points and who beat who beat. Ohio State is sitting there in pole position by themselves. And now, as you said, they sit back and watch these other 2 teams, Florida State and Alabama, play and see what happens.
Short kickoff going to be returned and fielded here. Free ball. And the Bears alertly bounce on it at the 27-yard.
Ironically, Ohio State's playing the best that they've played all year right now. Here's Oklahoma State and what they've needed to do to try to win this football game. They came out with an aggressive mindset. Marcel Aitman with a great play. They've had to beat one-on-one coverage. They knew that coming in. You know, they've been running the ball so well, but Baylor came in determined to stop the running game, and they left their corners on an island, and Dimitri Goodson has had a rough night defending these Oklahoma State Cowboy wide receivers.
Armstead alertly fell on that football, and it will be Baylor ball here. Final play of the 3rd quarter. Keeping it on the ground with Chafin. And it'll be 2nd down. Sean Lewis makes another stop. The end of our 3rd quarter. Oklahoma State all over Baylor. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC stations. Welcome back to Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by the new Windows. And we are back for the 4th quarter. Ordinarily, we would say the money quarter, but in this instance, Baylor trying to catch up. It's 35-3. All Oklahoma State. especially a spectacular defensive performance. And Chafin running the ball and out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it as he was approaching the first down marker.
It's like he might be able to get to the corner and pick up that first down, but he ended up stepping out of bounds a couple yards short. He had room to run.
3rd down and 2 for Bryce Petty and the Bears. Throws for the first down. And that was Coleman. And a reminder to stay tuned after the game, except on the West Coast for your late local news and for most of these ABC stations. And then turn over to ESPN for Sports Center for the highlights of the day in sports. Petty firing down here to the near side to Goodley.
That's a great matchup when Justin Gilbert goes up against Antoine Goodley. Goodley, a junior, 5'10", 225 pounds. And as we said earlier, Justin Gilbert recognized by many as the top corner in all of college football. Big, physical, long arms, an outstanding player.
Play action. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down. Now, you know, Herbie, because you've been in a lot of locker rooms. You know that what the Cowboys want now is not to permit a touchdown.
Right.
They would dearly love to walk off this field and have Baylor only with a field goal.
61 points a game, and you somehow don't let them into the end zone. They're as focused right now as they've been since the opening drive.
Absolutely. Youngsters are youngsters, and they want a first down. Busting free to daylight, however. Chafin and the Bears have a different idea because they want to get into the end zone.
Chafin showed last week against Texas Tech. We've always known he's a physical back, but last week he showed that if he gets through that initial surge of the defense, keeps his balance, he can get all the way to the end zone. But Oklahoma State that time holding him short, but it was a big gain, obviously, a nice run.
Play action to him this time. Woodley breaks free. Touchdown.
That's Baylor's offense this year until tonight. When you leave defensive backs one-on-one against their wide receivers, that's what they've done to every team that they've played until tonight. And that was the first time that Petty's gotten the ball out to his receiver, Goodley, and he made Oklahoma State pay for leaving Goodley isolated one-on-one.
14 minutes still remaining. And the Bears can quickly, with this extra point here, pull to within 25. Jones tacks on the extra point. And it is 35-10 as the Bears finally able to do something in the second half. You're watching ESPN Saturday Night Football presented by the new windows on ABC. Well, Barry Sanders, one of the legends from Oklahoma State, not surprised at his alma mater's effort tonight and glad they're getting results. And Barry's son, of course, is out on the Stanford team. We saw him, Herbie, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And, I was thinking about Barry in that 1988 year when he won the Heisman Trophy. Here's an interest. I almost asked you the question. Who's the only Heisman Trophy winner to win the trophy and score 4 touchdowns on that day in Japan? And, of course, I knew you'd get it. And that was Barry Sanders. They were over in Japan. I believe they were playing Texas Tech, if memory serves me correct.
What a runner, man. Best of all time.
My lifetime. Really fun.
Yeah.
That's fielded by Seals, and Seals for Oklahoma State's out to the 32. And Herbie, let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Take it away, lad.
Well, it's been a shocker tonight if you've missed it. Bryce Petty and this Baylor offense. Again, look at the bottom. 684 yards, 61 points a game. And tonight they've just not been able to do anything. Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State, with a great plan. And just as surprising has been Clint Shelf. He's been in rhythm, 16 of 21 for 333 yards. His receivers have made plays against this secondary from Baylor. It's been big play after big play through the air for Shelf and this Cowboys offense.
And I believe they scored touchdowns on 3 of their 5 possessions here in the second half. That's how effective they've been. Running the play now. Try to get a little clock if they can. And let's remind you of the upsets in this conference. This is the one that kept the Cowboys from playing for a BCS championship. And then how about this one that derailed Kansas State, Baylor, 52-24. Shocking the world with that one. And now here tonight, 35-10. Oklahoma State all over Baylor. Second down and 13.
Shelf just continues. He's been doing it since the open possession, just working the play clock. We're trying to take as much time off as he can.
Incomplete. And here comes your third down. Somewhat surprised that they put the ball in the air here with 13-21. Because you give it back quickly to the Bears, and they were to suddenly make this a 35-17 game.
Well, and again, their last possession, they had the football 7 plays. It took a minute 7 for them to put a touchdown on the board.
Yeah, they score so quickly. Herbie, what was that what they did last week against the first 7 scoring drives against Tech lasted all of 147 seconds? Think about that now. Shelf's going to throw underneath, catch and run, and nothing doing. So the Bears are going to get it right back. Bears are going to get that football right back.
Yeah, Mike Gundy's offense, right now they're torn between, okay, let's stay in bounds, let's work the clock, and also at the same time, they don't want to get too conservative and too predictable to get the ball back after 3 plays, right back to Bryce Petty in this Baylor offense.
Norwood back deep, just waiting for a chance. But so far, Kip Smith has done an outstanding job of punting here in this game overall. And one of the short men at the 44-yard line. So only 46 yards away after Fuller got on that punt.
Saturday Night Football. Presented by the new windows. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Check that out, Herbie. That's the Oklahoma State School of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Large program here, over 1,300 students. Look at this next generation of unmanned systems. You can take that back to Nashville tonight.
Pretty cool. My kids would love that.
Here we go now. Baylor football.
Let's see how these defensive backs hold up here. They're out on islands, held up for the majority of this night until that last possession where they got the ball finally to Goodley.
Chafin staying in the game as the Bear running back. 56 yards away, 12:32 working. And they decide to run on first down. Lewis, the first to hit him.
Baylor offensive staff trying to get the play in as quickly as they can after a run. Time is not their ally right now. They've got to get these plays called in a hurry.
Now Petty, far side, incomplete.
You know, the tough thing.
And the penalty flag.
Came in late.
Well, you know why he came in late? I think it was so cold he couldn't get
his hands numb.
I think he was thinking about him trying to get this out here.
Pass interference, defense, number 26. First down.
That's Tyler Patman. Yeah, they're out on an island out there. Grabs the jersey with the left hand. Definitely pass interference. Glenn Spencer, of course, giving the uncatchable sign to the officials. Right call. Right call.
That was not Gronkowski in the back of the end zone. First down and 10. And here's Petty now. Complete for another first down. And they're close to the 20-yard line. Coleman, the receiver.
I love the route here from Baylor because you're thinking about, boy, they need to score in a hurry. And there's so many of their routes that are vertical, just downfield. Patman turns. He starts to bail thinking they're going to go downfield. And he comes right back to the football.
Chafin. Nothing doing. He tried to run wide. And Ryan Simmons up to make another play.
And Ryan Simmons quietly having a great night. Again, Caleb Levy and Sean Lewis get most of the attention, but he's got great quickness on the other side of Lewis. So when you go back into the boundary, he's got that lateral quickness to make those plays.
Now Petty going to throw. Got an open Norwood. And Norwood is to the 7-yard line. First down and goal.
Yeah, Norwood last week stepped up with Tevin Reese down, 7 catches, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They've tried to get him the ball tonight. Somebody besides Goodley's going to have to make plays for this offense. And now we're starting to see some others step up. Norwood and also Coleman.
Petty's still got it, and he's down just across the 5-yard line. So it'll be second down and goal coming up for the Bears, and the Bears can't waste any time here.
No, they've got to get those signals in quick, and Petty has to have some urgency. They've not been in a situation like this, obviously, all year, down 25 points in a fourth quarter.
Petty, and he's short of the end zone again. Third down and goal. Johnson saved a touchdown.
Baylor looking over these coaches, Art Briles and that staff. They know that every time that they run the football with Petty and he doesn't get into the end zone, not only is it not a touchdown, but it's another 30 to 40 seconds that could run off the clock. They're actually huddling here just to make sure everybody's on the same page here on this big third down.
Of course, this 4-down scoreboard situation, clearly. Bad snap. Petty goes back, falls on it, loose ball picked up. The Cowboys can have a touchdown. Patman racing for the end zone. The dagger, ladies and gentlemen. Another unbeaten is about to bite the dust.
Brent, if fans have just tuned into this game, that play is this game in a nutshell. A snap that's low to the left to the quarterback, Petty. He can't get his hands on the ball. Not only can he not recover it, but then Oklahoma State picks it up, and they take it all the way to the opposite end of the field. A 14-point swing like that. Just when you thought that Petty and Baylor might be getting back into the game, this game is over.
Let me tell you right now that Baylor has turned the football over tonight at the 1-yard line and now the 2-yard line. Tyler Patman, a sophomore from Round Rock, Texas. Vista Ridge High School. There's the bad snap. Looks like Petty has it wrapped up, overshoots it. Patman scoops it up, and he's off to the races, and he's got a convoy with him.
This is a Baylor offense that 7 plays there, a little over a minute and a half, about 2 minutes. The little things that can cost you. You work on center quarterback exchange for 15 minutes before every practice, whether it's a shotgun or direct snap. And Bryce Petty knows that it's just one of those nights for him in this offense where Oklahoma State has a lot to do with it, but they've not helped themselves in many cases. Patman, the transfer from Kansas. Glenn Spencer, we met with him this week, almost got tears in his eyes because of how proud he is of Tyler Patman. After his career in Lawrence, he said after we got our 6th win, I was sitting on the bus on bus 1, and Patman was on bus 2, and it dawned on me that he's going to go to a bowl game. So he went off of bus 1, walked back to bus 2, hugged him, and said, "Congratulations, you're going to a bowl game."
And here's Fuller receiving the kickoff for the Bears, and he's just short of the 30-yard line. And Oklahoma State's report card, I'd be surprised if they give them all A's here tonight, Irby.
This is the open. In the open, we talked about what they have. What would Oklahoma State have to do to be able to win this game? We talked about winning special teams. We talked about preventing the big plays. A couple check marks. How about creating turnovers? They led the nation with 19 interceptions. Check mark there. And then red zone defense. Baylor 3 trips inside the red zone and only 3 points. So check, 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 check. And they're winning this game right now 42-10.
You know, there's a side story to all these things that have gone on here today across college football, and you and I talked about it in commercial. Heisman Trophy goes up in the air. Bryce Petty takes a step back. Marcus Mariota from Oregon. Johnny Manziel. Hello, A.J. McCarron on the outside. Here's the handoff now to Chafin.
Well, A.J. McCarron, and I said it this morning on College Game Day, Andre Williams, the running back at Boston College, he's not even going to be on the board, over 2,000 yards at Boston College. Jameis Winston at Florida State, his name is obviously still up there. But right now, the 3 in the middle have lost some traction in this race.
So it is second down and 9. almost intercepted by Oklahoma State. Joe Mitchell from Katy, Texas, backup linebacker, almost picked that one off.
He baited Petty that time. This secondary has had a great night. Just an outstanding night.
Third down and 9. Petty 24 of 45 for 294. Has one touchdown pass. And the second half has been a nightmare.
Delay.
Delay. Offense. 5 yards.
There are a lot of different individuals we can pick for a game ball for this defense, but mine's going to Glenn Spencer. The way it's not an individual, and he'd be embarrassed if he even said that because it's about the effort of the group. But the job that he did in preparing this defense, how multiple they've been with their looks, how they've been aggressive and not afraid with their coverage, leaving their corners on islands. They've played well tonight, very well prepared.
Petty will hike this one out of bounds at the 9:14 mark. Let's check in down below with Heather Cox.
So much talk upstairs about what Glenn Spencer has done in his first year as coordinator. It was fascinating to hear him talk to us on Friday saying, I want them to play hard for me, not because they're afraid I'll discipline them, but because they don't want to disappoint me. So he is going about it in an entirely different way. He says he tells his players, if I am coaching you hard, I'm coaching your actions, not you as a person. And you can tell this as a coach. I mean, look at that enthusiasm. You can tell this is a coach that has gotten his players to believe and perform for the right reasons.
Amen. Charlie Moore lets this one go over his head. Now he picks it up on the bounce. And he's down at the 6-yard line. So it was this kind of a night for the Baylor Bears. And it was this kind of a night for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. One play tells the story of the night. Well, if this week's Monday night game is as good as last week's, it'll be some treat. Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers against RG3 and the Washington Redskins. 49ers are not quite as good as they were a year ago, and the Redskins have been a bit of a disappointment in that NFC East. But we shall see, Herbie, in that one Monday night.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. RG3 and the Redskins trying to get back in the race in their division.
Yeah, for sure. And here the Cowboys are going to go to work on the clock, and we're going to go to Robert Flores for an update. Robert?
All right, Brandon, the Pac-12, USC is opening up some distance between themselves and Colorado. Nelson Aguilar from Cody Kessler. It's 23-0 USC in Boulder at the half. They will take on UCLA next week somewhere on the ESPN networks. And Washington State is leading Oregon State. That game on ESPN2, also on the Watch ESPN app.
Robert, and here, freshman Rennie Childs from Houston, Texas, Cypress Ridge, going to get a little playing time for the Cowboys. 2nd down and 7. That is the young man, Childs, being stopped by the Bears. And Coach Mike Gundy against a top 4 team here tonight. And this would be his first win since 2002 when he took down Oklahoma. Bedlam's still ahead of us.
It sure is. It sure is. It's right here in Stillwater, and not just because of tonight, but like I said, I think Mike Gundy and what this athletic department, the commitment that they've made here, they are no longer a team that comes around every once in a while. They've got staying power with his leadership and with the backing of the department here. They are an outstanding program.
Here's Childs dashing for the first down, 30, 35, and finally wrestled out of bounds on that far side by Dimitri Goodson.
Well, it's nice to bring in a true freshman, 5'10", 180 pounds. And one thing he brings that's a little bit different than Roland and Smith, and you could see it there, he gets to the second level, he's got some acceleration. When those wide receivers do such a good job blocking with this group on those defensive backs, you mess around and Randy Childs will go by you and take it all the way to the end zone.
That's another big play for the Cowboys, another 30-yard gain, and
they're going for 600 yards of offense tonight.
So when you think about Oklahoma State and Boone Pickens Stadium, folks, they're about to become 17-1 in their last 18 games here. So for some of us, it was a little bit surprising when they were a huge underdog at home. Win tonight makes them 17-1 in their last 18 games here in Boone Pickens Stadium. And that was Glidden, turn man over there. And of course, this would give them a 7-game win streak after that loss at West Virginia. I think after the loss, everybody forgot about him. And we saw Mike Gundy over there on the sideline. One thing to also keep in mind, he spent a year as an assistant coach at Baylor. That's right, back in 1996, he was an assistant over there. And the one thing he says about the Baylor program is that when you look around Waco, within 4 hours of Waco, there are 100 to 150 Division I prospects every year. He said, I'm not surprised that they've been able to turn this program around to Waco.
Great point.
Second down and 6. Childs the ball carrier, and the clock continues now to tick away. And did they turn it over? Was there a strip down there? Baylor thinks that they've got the football, but I think it's being marked down. And there is the young man who was certainly down.
Yeah, that's Rennie Childs, the freshman.
You know, Herbie, and we also have to think about Oklahoma State and where they will climb. They were 10th in the BCS rankings.
Without a doubt. And again,
you got Oregon losing. You've got Baylor losing. And the young man, wait a minute, this is a little bit more serious than we thought here. Let's step aside here and come back and check on his condition. And the Dr. Pepper road to the championship continues with Oklahoma State beating Baylor right now 42-10, 5:34. The young running back is still down. And while you were away, we look at this replay. This is a pretty good head blow.
Yeah, it's a linebacker, Eddie Lackey. Big collision with the true freshman running back, Rennie Childs. Lackey, one of the more physical players on this Baylor defense, and he's coming downhill in a hurry. It's boom.
His teammates, you can see in the upper left up there, that applause for him down there. And
absolutely.
He might have been completely unconscious taking a blow like that.
While we were away, it sure looked like that, just watching the medical staff work with him.
It's nice to see the young man up on his feet now. And
you know, before the injury, you were talking about Oklahoma State, and they're sitting at 10, and you look at some of these teams that have lost ahead of them and what this could do for them. I don't think a lot of people realize this is a big night for Oklahoma State. There was so much talk about Baylor, and Ohio State and the BCS standings. Oklahoma State this is a huge win. They're in the driver's seat. If they beat Oklahoma, they're going to go to a Fiesta Bowl. I mean, that's amazing. That'd be 2 times in the last few years that they've been able to accomplish that. So that's what Mike Gundy, I think, got his team to buy into. But you do wonder how far they could continue to climb.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna move toward the top 5 with this impressive performance here tonight. Now Missouri, that's a team you just can't overlook. I mean, they're playing for the SEC East next week against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Win that, and they're going to Atlanta.
Went on the road, knocked off Ole Miss, and you're right about that. I mean, crazy to think about. Johnny Manziel's going to Missouri. Both those teams went into the SEC last year, and now one of them, in this case, it's Missouri trying to get to Atlanta to get to the SEC championship game.
So Herbie, Jeremy Smith replaces Childs. This is Jeremy right now. They're just trying to eat up time, and he breaks free with a nice gain down the near side, and he's to the 29-yard line.
You know, at the beginning of the year, they thought he'd be the featured back, but it just didn't work out. Desmond Rowland took over, but I still love the look of Jeremy Smith, especially once he finds that seam outside. He gets those shoulders square. He's a bigger back, about 215 pounds, and he is a load to bring down.
Another 20-yard gain. That's 23. Got to give a little love to the offensive line. I like to take care of the big fellas. Daniel Koenig over there at left tackle. Brandon Webb, left guard. Jake Jenkins, the center. Peter Graham, the right guard. Chris Grisby, the right tackle. These fellas have also performed admirably here tonight. Done an outstanding job for the Cowboys.
In fact, when Mike Gundy and his staff look at this, and it's easy for all of us to get caught up in Clint Shelf and the backs and the secondary folks. Oklahoma State won the battle. We saw it early. They won the battle in the trenches on both sides of the ball. When you win that battle and you're that physical, you're going to win the football game. And I think they'll be very happy when they look at this film and they see how well they played, not just with the offensive line, but also their defensive line.
Second down and 8. Clint Shelf has played just one heck of a game. 18 to 24. Herbie for 337. Working out. You know, we've talked about the BCS. We want to go take a look at the remaining schedules for the top 3. Alabama, in our opinion, has the toughest road right now. They've got to go to Auburn, and they go to Atlanta to play the winner of the East. Florida State, Florida losing today to Georgia Southern. They go to the ACC Championship. They're going to be heavily favored in that one. Ohio State might be the second toughest road. Michigan's having a down year. They won today. And then Michigan State could give the Buckeyes some difficulty at Indianapolis.
It'll be a great game. I think Urban Meyer, the happiest thing that he's probably feeling about his team is this the best they've looked all year right now. The way they're executing, with the way Braxton Miller and Carlos Hyde and the way they can throw the football. They're peaking at the right time.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
You know, of the 3, when you look at that, the easiest schedule is Florida State.
Oh, yeah. Florida lost to Georgia
3.
Southern today.
You know, I know everybody has put down, and there's the young man under his own power. That's Childs. Rennie Childs headed back to the Oklahoma State locker room. Everybody put down the Big Ten, and I get it, understand it, agree with part of it. But be careful about Michigan State.
Sure.
They can play a little defense.
Yeah, and Ohio State knocking off Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's proving to be potentially a BCS at-large team. And if they end up playing Michigan State, if they beat Michigan State, that's a tough game. If they win that game, those are 2 big victories.
Strike, touchdown! Goodness gracious, Jawan Seals, the redshirt freshman from Port Arthur, Texas. And there's a touchdown for style points as Oklahoma State thrashing favored Baylor. A 33-yard scoring strike by Chelf, who now has thrown 3 touchdowns and 370 yards here tonight.
That was almost there's your 61 points. I mean, they're already up 40.
Exactly.
They're 61 and 586 yards.
So who's got the 61-point average here tonight?
And Oklahoma State's 5 yards away from having 600 yards themselves. These corners have struggled all night. All night. We came in thinking Oklahoma State, how would their corners hold up? But it's been the Baylor corners that have been out there by themselves, one-on-one coverage. They just have not been able to make a play on the ball. That time Seals just goes up and over Joe Williams to make that catch. But I mean, you can look at what Chelf has done, 370 yards through the air, a lot of big plays, and a lot of the credit goes to his receivers adjusting to the ball, and the Baylor corners just not covering well in one-on-one coverage.
3 minutes remaining. It's going to be in good shape after this one tonight, I'll tell you. (49-10). 595 total yards for Oklahoma State right now, and 388 for the Baylor Bears.
I think Baylor got it back. Fumble on the kickoff there.
Yeah, they did.
Talked about what this team had to do defensively, and that was just create havoc at the line of scrimmage. Remember, Baylor's offense starts with their ability to run the football, and Oklahoma State loaded up on that run and got physical. And once they got physical in the run, then they got physical on the outside. They jammed these wide receivers from Baylor. They got them. They did a great job of getting them out of sync. And remember, this is an offense that has not been slowed down by anybody, averaging 61 points a game. But tonight, they were slowed down by this Glenn Spencer defense and how aggressive they played.
It was 14-3 at the half. And Oklahoma State took the second half kickoff and scored a touchdown. And they have outscored Baylor in the second half 35-7. This is a whooping. Yeah.
Said earlier, this is not a fluke. They are dominated in every phase tonight.
Clock stops. Goodley goes out of bounds. And coming up after the game, stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up with Robert Flores. That'll be coming your way in about 2.5 minutes. And do want to point out, Baylor was shorthanded here tonight. Lost their left tackle. Running backs 1 and 2. They were already without one of their best receivers. Goodley's bringing it down. The clock is stopped as he's out of bounds. That was Lampkin defending over there for Oklahoma State. Coming down toward the 2-minute mark. And number 4. Oregon came in, Herbie, number 5 in the BCS, didn't they?
Yes, sir.
They started, so 4 and 5 are going to fall by the wayside. Caught. Touchdown, Norwood. Stayed right with it and made a slick catch. There's a young man who actually was on the Baylor basketball team. I remember covering him during the basketball team, Norwood.
Well, we talked about him earlier. What a big night he had last week against Texas Tech, stepping up for Tevin Reese. And he has a lot of ability. 6 catches tonight, 83 yards, and that touchdown.
Yeah, his daddy, the associate head coach, works with the safety, and he had a brother, Herbie, that we covered up at Penn State. Jordan Norwood was his brother. I'll tell you a cute little anecdote. Jordan did also play basketball at Penn State, never scored a point. All right, Levi, with the basketball team here in Baylor, he got 1 point. He lords it over his brother all the time.
Well, you know what? He's the inside receiver that they try to match up on safeties. This is Zach Craig, a senior. And this is what Baylor's had so much success with, is not just the outside receivers, guys like Antoine Goodley, but they try to pick on a safety in coverage in one-on-one and try to get him out in space. It's pretty good coverage, actually, by Zach Craig, but the ball just perfectly thrown by Bryce Petty, and good awareness there to be able to get his eyes up and make that catch by Norwood.
You know, speaking of basketball, this team here in Stillwater, Oklahoma State, really a good basketball team, and Marcus Smart, their star, was your guest picker today. How'd he do? Did he pick some winners?
He did. And most importantly, he was pretty relaxed. It seems like he followed football. We get some of these guys who are pretty big stars, and they get a little bit out of their element. And talking about football, he was right at home there tonight. And then Lee Corso had to pull the guns out.
I know. You had to run from him.
I'm telling you, those things, they vibrate. They're so loud. My right ear took about an hour. It was ringing.
And Corso comes away with another win. He's on a hot streak now.
He's on fire.
I'm going to saddle him up and take him to Vegas. Here we go. Now watch. Now, folks, I want you to watch my partner.
I have a job.
Watch my partner on the right wing here now.
My job's to hand him a gun.
Don't cut him up now. Get it on there, clean. Here we go. Arm that rascal. And fire him up there, of course. Attaboy.
That's not bad. This is a double trigger, by the way.
Oh, here comes the long gun. Mercy me. You were off the set by that time. You had run.
I had a blanket keeping me warm. I threw it at him.
First down and 10 now, and Smith comes in here for the final 153. And the seconds will tick away, and of course Baylor can't wait to get out of here. And again, it's now
It's going to be 76 years. If they don't come back next year, it'll be 76 since they last won a game in Stillwater the next time they come to town. They can't wait to get out of Stillwater.
Exactly.
Enough, I'm telling you.
I just want to give one more shout out to Mike Gundy for the job that he's done, not just tonight, but this program was a bit embattled early in the year, and he's kept them on track. They lost early in the year in Morgantown, and people thought, boy, what's wrong with this team? They've had to adjust in the middle of the year, change their identity on offense. They went to another quarterback in Chelf. That settled down, and they've just gotten better and better and better coming into tonight. Not a lot of people thought they could do this. Not only did they do it, but 49-17 over the number 4 team in the country, and he deserves that.
Oh, but not a night to be doused. Oh, no. Oh, get that off. I get that off.
He's going to dance.
It's
now.
going to freeze.
He's got to start stretching.
He does.
That dance that's coming up in about 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm a little cold.
Heather's going to have to ask him what he has.
To seep in there a little bit, too. Oh, this is no fun here. This is no fun. We're down about 33 degrees.
He's keeping his cool out here, but he's going to explode in that locker room.
So the upset, Oklahoma State dominates favored Baylor. 49-17. Clint Shelf, 19 of 25, 370 and 3 touchdowns. Smith ran for 67 yards. Moore caught 5 passes for 126 yards. Those are your leaders. And Art Briles and Baylor will return to Waco and regroup because they're still. So the players going over there towards the students, and let's check in down below with Heather.
A quick congratulations from Coach to Bryce Petty. Coach, congratulations on the win. Not only did you guys win, you did it emphatically. What kind of message did Oklahoma State send to the college football world tonight?
Well, we've got really good kids that play hard, and I'm very proud of their preparation. And they've come together as a group, 6-7 weeks ago, and they continue to work hard. And our defense is playing pretty good right now. And offensively, we had a pretty good night as well.
I'd say so indeed. And Coach, at halftime, you told me you needed to keep that aggressive mindset. How did that confidence and that mindset help you in the second half?
Well, our coaches on both sides of the ball did a great job with adjustments, and we came out with a little check system, and they pressed us, and we were able to hit the big throw early in the second half to kind of set the tone. So, you have to give the credits to the players. The players make the plays, and they make a decision to be a good football team. That's what happens.
Coach, you guys have now won 7 straight. What changed after that loss to West Virginia?
Well, I think we created an identity. Our defense carried us through the majority of the season. As the offense continued to get a little better, our kicking game has been really good, and we've been fortunate. We have really good kids. We stayed fairly healthy. They believe in each other, and they work hard.
Coach, you're shivering after that Gatorade bath. I'll ask you one last question. We saw you dance in the locker room after the win last week. Can you give us a little preview of what we might see in the locker room this week?
I'd actually forgot about it, and I'm sure they're going to want to do it again. And 2 weeks in a row is hard on my knees. So, but anyway, if that's what they asked, then the coach has got to do it.
For a win like this, I think you can muster it up. We'll ice your knees tomorrow, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Congrats.
Okay, 49-17. Oklahoma State all over Baylor here tonight in Stillwater. 7-1 in the conference. They jumped to first place, leading Baylor in Texas right now. And, of course, Bedlam left. And, Herbie, your final thought.
Yeah, just a game where Oklahoma State started in the trenches where they dominated. Clint Shelf, a phenomenal game, in rhythm the entire game, 19 of 25 for 370 yards. And, of course, Glenn Spencer in that defense. A marvelous job in how they defended such an explosive Baylor offense.
Herbie, let's go to Columbia, Missouri next week. Let's go see Mizzou and see if Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M. Are you in for that one?
Let's do it.
All right. Big win for Oklahoma State. They climb all over Baylor here tonight. They take over first place in the Big 12 Conference. And now it's time for the fourth wrap-up. Let's go to Robert Flores. Take it away, Robert.